Well, let's get it on.
Vape, don't leave! Hey, guys!
Let's get it on.
Hey, guys.
Fake, you like this movie? You think you're cool?
Hey, man. This is a great film. This is a great film. Madeline, you made it! Oh, look at that. Good to see you.
Madeline, what's up?
Good. It's so freaking good.
Yeah,
it's
this
so
movie's
good.
cool. This movie's cool.
Get yourself some sleep, though.
Give me all the feels. Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, like, yeah. It gives you, I mean, yeah, good.
Stay up. Just stay up.
Yeah,
stay up.
just
Talk with us.
Wreck your life.
Yeah,
wreck
man.
Your life.
What do you got? Stuff to do tomorrow?
Movies.
Responsibilities?
Yeah. Sounds like you need a personal organizer. Just joking.
You need your own Samantha.
This is
what happens when you take correct.
There you go.
Sprockets! No, we dance.
Hey, guys. Hey, guys. Welcome. Blessed. It's been too long. Oh, well, we feel blessed. Hey, how you been? How's life?
Yeah, what's up?
Hold on.
What's up?
Hold on, what am I doing now? Wow, there we go. Hey, dude.
Hey, what's up? Good to see ya.
Good to see you, man. See, the good-looking brother is streaming. Yeah. Oh, come on, man.
This guy, right here.
I hate when the show starts right when you need to change your colostomy bag. I gotcha. I mean, I understand.
Just do what we do. We do it on air.
Sympathy, not empathy. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just go thump. That's not a... Yeah. Hey, guys. Amazing movie. Oh, you crying? You're crying. Yeah.
It's a cry. It's a crier.
It's a crier. Hey, man. Hey. How's it going? Hi. We just kind of jumped right in. How's your week?
Good week. I'm about to wrap up this documentary I've been working on.
Oh.
I'm gonna wrap it up next week. Very excited to be done with that. And then I watched this movie. 1 year. Okay, so I sent him a text with a screenshot. You know how on Facebook you get those little Facebook memory things. And I got one, and I got it on Saturday, and it was a screenshot of a post I had made about the movie Her 5 years ago, and it's when I saw it, when it was in theaters, when it first came out, and I forgot how I raved about it.
Yeah.
And so I watched it that night, 5 years to the day.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And the movie held up wonderfully. It's almost even more on point in this era, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, this is 2013, which is already 6 years ago. That's
crazy.
I know.
Because it holds up well.
I know. And I feel like he got this idea and was like, okay, I gotta make this real soon.
Yeah, right.
Because, like,
it's like knowing, because you were typing in the date just now when we were about to go live, and I didn't realize it was so long ago.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel that way. Just in terms of like how topical it truly is.
All right, hold on. Are we okay? Cool. We're at least not disappearing anymore. I've been having some weird lighting issues. What's up, soy? What's up, herbivores?
What's up, soy?
Those who consume the film Her. Thank you.
Oh, there you go, Vape. Yeah.
Herbivores.
Stay in it to win it.
No, you don't have to, but please do. But do it.
Stay if you want.
No, Vape, do what you like.
But don't come back here next Sunday and be like,
sleep.
I got an F on my test. I lost my job. My girlfriend left me. My boyfriend left me.
My computer dumped me.
Yeah.
Because that happens, man.
Yeah.
Case in point, what a transition.
Whoa. I don't know.
Babe, good enough, lose your job,
We're
lose
not
your
cool enough
girlfriend.
to do that.
And I can't. Wish you had those things to lose. Oh. Job?
Oh.
Hey, man, if you don't got a job, cool. Wait. I mean, it can be cool.
Most times it's not.
Yeah. I don't know. Depends.
No, jobs are cool.
Jobs can be cool.
The goal is try to get one you like.
Yeah. There you go. Unemployment.
Yay!
All right. Hey, here we go. Oh yeah, there we go.
You're really into this music too.
Yeah, this really feels like me.
Did you take some some ecstasy
No.
before we started?
I just watched.
You got your rave pants on?
Yeah, exactly. If these are my rave pants. Actually, they might be. I don't.
Oh, plaid rave pants. pants, baby.
I don't know what I would wear to a rave, but I feel like if it
would be something like that.
Yeah. Is it because you wear like fuzzy stuff to a rave? To be like,
I've never been to a rave.
Yeah, okay,
I feel like it's
either.
a lot of like parachute pants, you know.
But it's like
with
stuff
like
that you want people to touch, right? Because you're just like, we're all gonna like touch each other. That's what a rave is.
You should never go to a rave.
Gonna get arrested. Here we go. Only rave pants in this house. What did I say about these rave pants? Always leave them on.
An outfit made of glow. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Thank you for the subscription. Subscription. Thank you, dude. Thank you so much, Madeline. It is 6 months of Unbelievable Sports, half a year, as I'm sure you're aware. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
We only wear rave pants in this house.
That is right. Fishnets, Ed Hardy t-shirts, glow paint, Nirvana keys. Oh, I shouldn't have changed because that's what.
Yeah, Nirvana keychains.
I was wearing Nirvana
Are Jinkos rave worthy, or is that like more of a skater thing? Did you wear Jinkos?
No. There were this gigantic.
You looking down on people who did wear Jinkos?
No, I'm just saying I would never have been able to. Are those the ones with the J with a crown on it? Or are those Jabos?
I don't know. Well, they were the. I mean, you know them. They're like the big pants.
The huge ones where you could like
massive.
fit 3 people.
Yeah. Yeah, you would hide people in them.
And people would, like, your friends would pop out of them and be like, Surge!
Yeah. If you had really small friends, Surge.
That's what everyone said.
I would just hide all my Surge. I had 6-pack of Surge in there. Get real ramped up.
Dude. Jinkos. Oh, Jinkos. Oh, yeah, yeah. Negligent Twinfish, thank you for those 2 months. Thank you for that resub, my friend. Lots and lots of love. How you been, dude? How you freaking been? Furry raves. Oh, yeah, that's a different thing. Thank you.
This generation likes to pretend Jinkos didn't exist. Can you...
I don't know what a Jinko is.
I can't wait until... Because you know how things work in cycles and it comes back around. Jinkos will inevitably come back around in some form.
But are they they're the big jeans?
They're the big jeans.
Okay.
Where they cover your whole shoe, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're thick. They're like...
Thick.
Like, how do you... I mean, do they bow out?
Usually wear them with like a long black tee. Yeah. Hang out in the parking lot, smoking cigarettes.
Is this like 95 or later?
Mid 90s.
Okay, so this is like,
mid to late 90s.
This is like you're in that shot in Clueless where she's like.
I don't know that movie.
Really?
I don't. It's a Paul Rudd movie, right?
I mean, Paul Rudd's in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's in that? Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah. Hey,
I know.
wait a
Kelsey
second.
loves that movie.
Yeah, Clueless is great, man.
Yeah, I know it's like a good movie, like a smart movie.
It's a reimagine. It's Amy Heckling. It's a reimagining. I'm not coming down and really giving you a lashing.
I don't know who you are tonight because you want to go to a rave.
Hold on.
You're saying
it's a reimagining of the classic story Emma.
I thought the Gwyneth Paltrow version of Emma was the
That's Emma.
of Emma.
It's Emma as well. They're the same movie.
That's cool.
I
mean, that doesn't impress me, but it's nice to know.
Anyway, there's a shot where these...
so it's not original.
Yeah. It's a straight point. Some juggalo shoe. Oh, yeah. Super low-rise jeans came back to Hollywood, and they're not taking away my comfortable pants.
Wait, super low rise.
Does that mean
what's
like
a low
low
rise?
cut, like
where
under your...
We can see that penis root.
You're gonna. Oh.
That's what they call it.
Hey, who?
People.
Okay.
Not people I associate with.
I've heard of root. Yeah. Oh, because it feels like a turnip. No, it's not. Look at my hip bones.
Look at my hip bone jeans.
I knew a dude who called the 2000s jeans. Well, that just...
Yeah, that was weird, yeah.
I knew a dude who called the penis shaft a trunk. How?
Did he have a large, girthy penis?
How often? It's probably what he wanted people to think. He'd be like,
Yeah.
them redwoods, the deforestation.
Check out my redwood.
Yeah, you're like, what? And he's like, what, yours isn't a redwood? And I'm like, no, mine's a redwood. Mine's definitely a redwood. Mine's like vertigo. Mine's like when you go into it's vertigo. Kim Novak is really dizzy around well, that's not...
It's really dizzy.
No, that's not what we wanted to... She doesn't get vertigo. No. I think Paris Hilton in the early 2000s jeans. Gotcha.
Oh, yeah. But wait, are those for like men and women?
What it do, Biscuit
Or
Head?
are you just saying for women it's coming back?
It's like vertigo.
What do women wear now? I don't know what's going
Who
on.
knows? I don't know. I don't, who knows?
It's all a blur to me.
Welcome to Filmography, guys, where we're in touch. We got our finger on the pulse of whatever part of popular culture we're allowed to have our finger on.
Really just 1996 to 1997.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah. Like the kind of like Broken Arrow to like...
John was Broken Arrow to like, I don't know, Mercury
like
Rising.
Yeah. There you go. Everyone's like, I don't know what you're talking about now. We're like, what do you mean low-rise jeans? And they're like, what do you mean any of those things that you're saying? Who is John Woo? You're saying hit squat in this shit. It's a honey, please. Fashion. Just
up, honey?
women. I don't know that what women wear now, and I'm a woman wearing clothes now. It's a mystery to me. Understood.
Yeah.
Positive with me when posers wear parachute pants without ever parachuting.
It sounds like Soy's on, she's at a rave right now.
Yeah. Look at my clothes and they just shift effervescently. Oh, it does. In a
Yeah.
strange, indecipherable pattern. Interesting.
Soy, you're on drugs.
Yeah. Just find yourself a safe place.
You get a lot,
just
have
curl
some
up.
water,
Yep.
Heard that's the thing.
Yes, the word is, yeah, that old, just gonna.
Could you imagine going to a drug? Like, I don't know what I would ask if at a drug.
Yeah. I don't want any orange sunshine. I don't want any no angel dust. Can you imagine actually?
And you think that would be the code word? It's like, I don't want any of that angel dust.
Yeah, and he's like,
you're talking about fucking angel
he's
dust?
like, you can't say that.
You can't say that.
You gotta use some code words, man. I'll be like, some Billy, some sweet Billy. He's like, what are you talking about? Look, I've got the Jinkos.
I'll take some of that redwood. I want some of that redwood.
No! Can I get the 7 p.m. home watching the Avengers kind of drug? That's just like that's like a chicken pot pie.
Yeah.
When I used to pick up,
That's a hungry man dinner.
yeah, some shit. Used to what's up with the what's up? Good. Oh man, wow. Yeah. Well, hope you're
Used to
doing well,
have-
my friend. Yeah, like what's the because like
Coke days.
can you imagine like what is angel dust is PCP?
I think so.
I mean, that's like this. That's like the weirdest, most like crazy, like.
Dude.
Can you imagine buying something and then going like, "That's angel dust"?
Yeah.
Is like that's like it's a step off from being a future drug that someone invented to put in RoboCop 3.
Dude, I would just be like, I would be so
dust.
nerdy about it. I'd be like, it's like I'm in training day.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm in training day. I'm
gonna-
Ethan Hawke in training day.
We're gonna get arrested, aren't we?
I went down.
Oh yeah,
real,
he gives him PCP in Training Day, doesn't he?
it's really messed up. In like when you
Yeah,
think about it, it's like
yeah.
he unknowingly he took PCP. He's like, that's PCP.
Yeah.
Angel dust. And you're
Angel
like,
dust.
Oh no.
Angel dust.
Oh,
It really just
no.
sounds like something that like a creative dare instructor made up to make it sound scary.
I went down a rabbit hole on Reddit 2 nights ago in a thread called "Took Too Much," and it was all about people. Like, it started out as just like funny videos of people who were hammered or whatever, and I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and then you get sucked in because it's all videos, and you scroll, and you're just like, it's funny, it's funny, it's funny, and then it got to I think it's called
Someone just screaming.
salvia,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
like a
It's like a-
synthetic thing.
Is it synthetic? I thought it was like a natural thing. That
Maybe
you-
it is natural.
Yeah.
We got confused about that too. We were trying to discern it, but that was weird. And the way people react to that
Big
was
H is
crazy because you
scary.
go into another world for
Yeah.
like only like a minute, and then you come back, and I was like, oh, that's really creepy.
So it's like Flatliners?
I don't know that movie.
What?
I know.
Okay.
And then
Because that was a really great reference. It's really funny.
because that's like prime. Is that 95?
That's like 90.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I get that confused with Sleepers.
Sleepers. Oh yeah. I saw that.
Is that with all the people? Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, this led me to, so it was salvia, and then it got me to bath salts.
Oh no.
And have you ever seen someone on bath salts?
No.
It is, they literally, and I know I probably use that word a lot, but I actually mean they look like the zombies in 28 Days Later.
Yeah, they look like
Like, they
monsters.
actually look like that,
Like a sunken
and they
man.
move like that, and their eyes look like that. It is terrifying.
Wow.
And the video I watched was about a girl who, it was like a news piece, and she like did it. She did it once, and she was like, I couldn't stop, and she started doing it every day. And they're like, what's it like? She's like, it's my own personal hell. And I'm like, why would you do that every single day? is creepy.
Wow.
It is like I don't know why anyone would willingly do that.
Yeah. Spike Jonze is her in theaters now.
Yeah, right. That's what we're doing.
Was this angel tears? Devil's... Wait. I've never heard anyone use code names that I've been lied to. People just made it sound so cryptic when you're a kid and grow up and a dude's just like, yeah, this is ecstasy. You want some? Oh. Maybe meant some, not like, I don't know.
Yo, you want some of that?
It's
you want
angel
those?
tears?
Yeah.
Devil dust? Up downsiders? No, bro, it's just MDMA. Yeah, we talked about it. Hey, Juan, how you doing? Bath salts are wicked. It turns people to cannibals. Oh, man. And but like...
Yeah, I read that too. That's what got me into it because I knew about the guy who ate someone's face on him.
But yeah, because it all happened. There was like that period of time where like all the news coming out of South Florida was people eating things.
Yeah,
it still is. Like Florida, which is where I was born. People were like, man, tries to like crocodile. Crocodile eats the dude after a guy went after it trying to fight it or something, and then like
and you're like, that sounds weird and stupid, and they're like, I wonder if there's video of that, and you're like, yeah, that's as weird and stupid as I thought it was gonna be.
Go Florida! I mean, hey, I love Florida, but like, there's some real bad news coming out of Florida. Also, we rig elections. We not rig elections.
Was that? Did that happen?
There was, yeah.
I was on the peripherals of that news article, that news piece.
Your old neighbor got on bath salts. Oh, what? Is this? I hope it's an elderly neighbor.
What happened?
What do you mean by old neighbor? What do you mean, like literally? Did
you see him?
Had sex with? What does this mean?
Did they like come outside? Because like they look like demons.
Here's the other thing. Bath salts, right? Like, unless I'm misunderstanding, like we're talking about a product.
Is it something you can just get in the store?
I don't know. That has like one use is it will give you a fragrant, nice smelling bath, and the other use is it will turn you into a movie monster cannibal.
Well, you know how it gets
Like
in all
it
gets in all your nooks and crannies when you use it in the bathtub. That's what it's doing, but in your blood, and then it's making you.
But like, why didn't it just give you like a fragrant? What do you eat it? Why are we talking about this? Careful from all people from Florida. Yeah. One thing I see here is just we watching you. My old neighbor got on bath salts. Betty McDougal, 87, drops a yarn on her porch because she tripped on a bath bomb. Oh, I thought like it was like my old neighbor was getting like the business put to her while on bath salts by another monster. Because like, what are you gonna do once you're a monster? This is the strangest. That's saying something. This is a strange conversation for this. I remember my neighbor back on 10th Street when I was in my teens. He was coked up and there were cops all around the crib and he shot his own foot.
Wow.
I don't want to laugh. It's too late. Lobos was born in Costa Rica, where we lived for 5-6 years, formative years of my life. And,
so you were born in Florida, but then you guys were living in Costa Rica?
We lived there for like 45 to 47 minutes. And we moved to Atlanta, not Atlanta, Duluth, Georgia, which is near Atlanta, outside Atlanta. And then we moved to Costa Rica for from when I was 5 to when I was like 10 or something.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't realize you were there in more of your formative years.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, now Lobos is 14. Man, time flies, yeah. Lobro is actually Cuban. Yeah, well, I've had Cuban sandwiches in Florida, and they are great.
Ooh.
Is Lobro actually human is the thing? What defines a human? Fair point.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
That's
There you go.
what this
There's
movie's
that.
all about. Way to go, honey.
There we go. Hey, all right. So I'm going to do this. But that's Demon Seed.
Hey.
But it's interesting.
I'll talk about Demon Seed some more.
Let's do it. It's interesting to talk about. I feel like since this is the last one, it'd be interesting at some point to compare the AIs that we've seen, right? What the crap is the dude's name in Alphaville? It's something. Something.
Dumb.
No. Hold on.
Dumb caricature of what an interesting character is supposed to be, but isn't.
Can I get the pin of something?
Furthermore, that movie is terrible.
Is that Ice Poseidon? Wait, what? Ice Poseidon.
You talking about this poster right here? Because that's Demon Seed. And that's Julie Christie.
Lastimosamente no me puedo quedar. Tienes un buen directo y una buena noche a ti, tu amigo. Tenía que decirlo en español. Muchas gracias. Hasta luego. Te vaya bien. And it's not a very nice thing he said about you, but it's fine.
That's cool.
No, I'm just joking.
It was in a foreign language that I don't know, so I'll take it as a compliment.
That's the way to do it.
What? Don't get on my shit list.
Have a good one. It's time to go, man. Poseidon almost drowned on the beach. So the bitch is getting scrubbed. Fair point.
I love you too.
It's his fault, man. That means I love you. Yeah. Gosh, what is its name? What is its name?
What?
I can't remember the AI's name in Alphaville. It's something for. No, it's not something for.
I'll just look it up for you. I can't even. I blacked that movie out of my brain.
I got you. Poseidon scared you so bad, like the Greek mythical Poseidon. Yep. Understandable. I'm just trying to know the movie. Oh, Poseidon! The Poseidon Adventure. The Poseidon Adventure. Saw that movie when you were a kid?
Alpha 60.
Really? That's it? That doesn't sound familiar.
Alpha 60. That's why it's called Alphaville, Brian. Low, bro.
It's Alpha? Really?
Alpha 60 is the dictatorial computer.
All right.
How about give us a 1
Yeah.
if you watched the movie or you have seen the movie and,
Whoa.
going to be able to talk about it with us.
This is a 1. There you go, Vape Dad.
Vape Dead with an enthusiastic 1. Madeline coming in hot with a 1.
That's coming in hot with that 1. Yeah.
Otto with a 1.
Boom. With Kurt Russell. Wait. The 2006 one. Well, that's also...
There's another movie with Kurt Russell called Her.
It's a remake of the Poseidon Adventure just called Poseidon. So that's a remake. It's got like a huge cast. Right.
I always wanted to see that because it was shot... Is that Wolfgang Peterson?
I thought it was like a direct-to-video thing. I mean,
with
a
Kurt,
TV movie.
the Poseidon one with Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a big budget movie, and that was shot by John Seal, who did Fury Road and Mosquito Coast.
Mosquito
Great,
Coast.
underrated cinematographer.
Yeah. Okay. Wolfgang Peterson did a remake of Poseidon Adventure. Interesting.
But when you really think about it, like, how many Wolfgang Peterson movies do you really like?
I can't even. So I would have to. See, I always get him confused with.
Because I love Das Boot.
Did he do Day After Tomorrow?
No, that's Emmerich.
Roland Emmerich, who also did. I always get him confused with Roland Emmerich for no reason.
Stop
Roland
getting
Emmerich,
your
who
German
did
guys.
Independence Day.
Emmerich.
Yeah, and
Wolfgang did
maybe
Troy.
571. Is that Roland Emmerich?
No,
because that would be weird.
That's Jonathan. I can't remember his name.
No.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Lieberman?
Something to that effect. I think so.
All right, we're talking about everything.
No, we're talking about everything but the movie.
But that's okay.
Cool. So people have seen this movie. That's great.
Time to watch it. Everything worked over 100 hours with 0 time off. How did you watch it? Are you okay? Are you all right? Don't eat bath salts. It was scary as when you were like, hey, but pretty good, I guess. Kurt Russell seems like a nice guy, but he plays a-hole, so I'm like, that's, he's probably a nice
Kurt
guy.
Russell seems like the coolest guy on the planet.
Yeah.
I just want to hang out with him and his wife, Goldie Hawn. I'm just like...
Partner. They're not even like... But
they're common law, right?
Yeah, I probably by now.
I mean, that's...
Every single one of their kids is an actor. Wyatt Russell, other people.
Katie...
Oh, Kate Hudson. But she's... Oh, yeah. Her brother is Oliver Hudson, who's in... he's in, like, Nashville.
Oh, cool.
Which I know because my wife watched it. He was on a sitcom as well. Interesting.
Wow, we are just like refusing to talk about this movie.
I don't know why, because the movie's fantastic.
I know Brian really wanted to watch this.
Evan.
What's up? So you like this movie?
I do like this movie. So let's do it. Let's kick it off the way we do it. We're gonna read the
synopsis.
Read the synopsis. Synopses. Oh hey, you have to pee. Type in.
Yo, I'm so sorry, guys. Like, I don't know who Brian is. I'm talking about Lobro, Mr. Lobrocop.
In the near future, a lonely writer develops an unlikely relationship with an operating system designed to meet his every need. So we start off with Theodore.
I'm not even gonna interrupt this.
Yeah, I feel comfortable doing. If this was like You Were Never Really Here, I wouldn't feel comfortable doing this for it. But yeah, if this character, I can do that too.
Talk about the movie.
Hey, Theodore Twombly, who has
is that his name?
Yeah.
Okay.
He has a job writing people's intimate, personal letters for them. Mm-hmm. He's kind of a writer and a poet. What movie is this again? This movie is called Her. It was directed by Spike Jonze of Being John Malkovich adaptation and Where the Wild Things Are fame.
And a famous music video director.
And yeah, absolutely did Sabotage. Did Buddy Holly.
He's done so many
great music videos.
Classic music videos from the 90s.
Thanks to her, we know what Scarlett Johansson sounds like when she climaxes. What a time to be alive. Well, some people... Just a meaningless joke about my pretending to know what she sounds, which is just tasteless.
You mean in person?
Yeah, I don't, obviously.
Because, I mean, you would... Is your concern that people would take that...
What is that joke
to be true?
No.
And they'd be like, they wouldn't understand this.
Yeah.
Because their immediate reaction is going to be, whoa.
Yeah.
Why is he...
why is it...
This is pillow talk, and he's just letting everybody know.
It's not even like why would I... It's just... I just feel gross making that joke. But my brain... Anyway. All right, here we go. So he has a job at a place. He writes people's intimate personal letters for them. So like the movie opens and he's writing a letter from a man to a woman on the occasion of their 50th wedding anniversary, and we come to find out that is a thing that is done.
Very commonplace in this world.
You can just kind of hire out. Say you need to write a thank you note, or you need to write a Valentine's card, or you need to write an apology letter to a
and
person
some
very
people,
close to you.
like Theo's been writing letters for certain couples for 50 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or however long, yeah.
So talking about her, yeah, we are. Not sure if an answer because he's been 6 years. You got a new job, rock and roll, dude. Congratulations. Totally forgot Chris Pratt was in it. Yeah,
that threw me way off too. I was like,
I definitely, yeah. I like this movie a lot. I think it was Manic Pixie Dream OS.
Yeah.
It's fair.
I'd give it that too.
Although
I really enjoyed this movie.
But you don't feel like she got... I mean, I feel like a lot of the characters are kind of like sort of basically drawn in some ways, but then become... Like, she begins that way. But then, like, as she develops and learns, like, she's sort of programmed that way, but then becomes sort of self-actualized and evolves past...
But who are you talking about? Let's explain it.
Scarlett Johansson.
It's
so yeah.
An OS. So he's a lonely writer for this card company, and he's coming out of a long-term, or no, not even long-term relationship,
it's a marriage. And it's he just all that's left is for him to sign the divorce papers.
Right. And
he's kind of sitting on
for a year
in classic sad sack protagonist fashion. Mm-hmm. I mean, I feel like that's like a kind of like subplot in a lot of movies where they just won't sign the divorce papers.
That is a subplot.
Yeah,
in quite a few. But I would imagine that's got to be true.
Absolutely.
And a hard thing to do if you didn't want the relationship to end.
Surely.
And so he's lonely and depressed. Mm-hmm. And
as you can see right here, or in any picture, if you just Google her film images, he'll look sad and depressed. By the way, his performance, unbelievable. Really, all the performances in this film.
Yeah. Amy Adams, fantastic.
Like one of my favorite Amy Adams performances.
Yeah.
Truly. My favorite Scarlett Johansson performance, hands down. Probably.
Not for me.
It's been a while since I've seen.
She came out at the gate big time with Lost in Translation and Ghost World, and both of those were, but in particular, Lost in Translation.
Yeah, I think. Man, it's been a long time since.
And she's incredible in this, and it's interesting because she was brought in way after the fact but we'll get into that.
Yeah.
So, anyways. One day he's depressed, he's lonely, and he's walking down, he's walking down Shanghai or whatever this imaginary city is supposed to be.
So it's supposed to be LA. It's supposed to be like vaguely futuristic LA. Yeah. But it is.
They did a really good job of
Shanghai.
Right. Awesome. And he comes across like a moving advertisement for this new OS system, personalized OS system. I can't even. How did they describe it in the advertisement?
It's like, they have, there's like a big kind of video.
It was a cool ad. I was like, that looks like a Spike Jonze music video.
Yeah,
it did.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, we something about like you are a unique person, and we know. How about an OS system knows who you are and who you blah blah blah.
Yeah,
it's very kind of like personal.
Because was the purpose of the OS system to just help in day-to-day life?
I don't know. I mean,
or was it a grand experiment?
I mean, they said,
did they know it was going to continue to evolve? Like, I think so. I think they did.
I think they specify that in the thing. It's
yeah.
Like in the advertisement within the film, like that he sees. It's like talking about how it says it's not an AI, it's a consciousness.
Right.
So it sort of is playing with. And I gotta be like. At several points in this movie, especially late, I just kind of started like thinking about the thing as a whole, because I'm a really smart person, and I just kept kind of like, I just was impressed thoroughly with how thoroughly they kind of deal with this idea, like how realistically they deal with different facets of it, the things that they bring in, some of the things they bring in. I'm like, oh yeah, that's fascinating. That would really happen, and what an interesting scene to see play out with the surrogate and stuff later. And so it's a very effective, very thoroughly realized and fleshed out sci-fi movie that feels like it's a relationship movie. I mean, because it's both, right? I mean,
it's lo-fi sci-fi. Like it's absolutely sci-fi, but it's not at all.
Yeah.
And it's a more authentic romance movie,
absolutely,
and relationship movie than most.
Yeah, like I was
that set out to do just that.
Because we were planning, because next month is February. Surprise! Spoilers for any of you on bath salts. Weird. I hope none of you are on bath salts. If so, please get help. And I wish I had a hotline. So for next month, we'll be doing kind of like relationship love movies that deal with that sort of thing. And it was hard. It was kind of a struggle to kind of figure out whether to put this here or there, honestly. It deals so specifically with AI, but it's one of the like if people were like, can you recommend a movie about love and relationships? I would give them this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that is what this is about. Sci-fi scenario with a romantic plot. It is, yeah. I mean, it's both intertwined so thoroughly that they're kind of, it's just beautifully done.
I also think that it's way more in line with the type of romance you'll have in this current era. Because you could just take the entire movie as a metaphor for how we, like, so many relationships in this day and age are just through your phone. Even like real, like, oh, I'm a boyfriend, oh, I'm a girlfriend type relationships. And you're still spending 90% of your dating life through your phone until it maybe grows into something more serious, or maybe it doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a really interesting thing to view it through that prism.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and because there are a lot of, there's just so many wonderful movies and ways to group them. And thinking about like February was kind of like, oh, like love in the modern age, and this could be that, and whatever, because it is very like, but and I think
it's a great way to dovetail into that, though.
I agree. Yeah. I agree, but I think even as much as I recognize this as like a very realistic thing, I think the people who are, because I, for better or worse, probably for better, never had to deal with like online dating, which is like the way that 99% of the, I mean, there was a time when there was a stigma attached to it, kind of, not a stigma, but it was like, oh, it's like an online date, weird. Or, but like now it's just like the way people do things because they're busy and it just makes sense and it's efficient and it's
and I did it for a couple of years and then but I've been in a relationship for almost 3 years now, and I feel like in just those 3 years it has escalated. Like, it has doubled down and then tripled down, and it just keeps compounding and folding in on itself
to the point,
accelerating at such a rapid rate that, like, we're getting to a point within just the past 3 years that I'm like, this is bonkers. Yeah. And I'm just waiting for that study to come out and be like, hey, guys, we can't be on our phones this much. Like, we're going to have to institute something because this is super not healthy for anyone.
Subscription, Collie West. Thank you so much for that resub. It means a tremendous amount, and it helps more than I can say. Thank you so much for your support. Lots and lots of love. Thank you. Deadly Reality. The part of my mixed feelings for this movie is because I felt misled.
Oh, her is intense.
Say again. Oh shit, her is intense. It is, but not but like, just very, very emotionally intense in a very sweet way. I mean, this is a very.
It's just very real.
This is
it talks about. There are lines of dialogue that
yeah.
I want to bring up that really, even on the second go around of watching it, made me tear up just through one line.
Absolutely. The only one who prior to this pronounced Joaquin as Jackin. Maybe. But probably not.
You're literally the only person who has done that.
So I think part of my feel it was misled as entering it thinking sci-fi and not romance. And I think it's both, but like
it's both. It's just both.
I think it's I think it's equally.
Sci-fi doesn't mean it has to be sci-fi action.
Yeah, that's true.
Sci-fi drama.
There you go. Because the sci-fi is thoroughly interwoven. Yeah. Like it is at every point. There is no way in which they just in no way do they just go, here's the sci-fi premise and we're going to get away from it. Yeah. I mean it is woven through every.
It's the crux of the movie.
Yeah, and it's at every step. I mean it is intrinsic to the story. Cements is actually the end parallel polygamous communities more than it will ever parallel the development of AI technology. So, well, that's interesting. That's interesting because I mean, are you saying that you think it was sort of referring to that? Because I understand that feeling where it's like, oh well, we're not, you can be in a mindset where you can love more than one person, and that's not, like she says, I guess we're getting ahead of ourselves, but she's like, she's like in love with other consciousnesses, and he's like, how many? And she's like 600 or whatever, and it's a big thing. She's like, but it doesn't change the way I feel about you, and intellectually that makes sense. Like, I mean, like I'm like, oh yeah, I can understand being at a, the more intellectually you advanced you are, and the less like emotionally attached you or like driven by.
Well, I took it as a completely like it's
like I don't think it's a matter. Yeah,
I took it as a very literal like
yes,
this is why this system of relationship can't work, because for as real and as authentic as it can be, that's still a computer. You're still a human, and she's just evolving at a much faster rate than humans are. And what she said made complete sense. Absolutely. Because that's what she can do.
Absolutely.
So to her, that's as normal as breathing, is having six, because she can do them all simultaneously and give her complete attention to any one relationship simultaneously.
Absolutely.
And our human brain can't even fathom that, which is why he said. And that was another beautiful line. He was like, it's insane, but it's like, are you mine?
Yeah.
Or are you not mine?
Yeah.
And that really summed up the human mentality of it. And it was a beautiful, there's so many beautiful lines like that.
No, it isn't. It's great. Oof, ouch, owie, my insecurities. Where he plays love so well and like my heart bursts has made me feel lonely. Sure. Soft sci-fi versus hard sci-fi. Probably sci-fi like my alcohol hard. I love the high-waisted plains.
Yeah, pants.
Yeah, pants, yeah. And preferably involving.
I love the style of it, yeah.
Well, I feel like, I don't know, to me, and maybe this is just but I always interpreted soft sci-fi and hard sci-fi as like, hard sci-fi is sci-fi that really takes the sci-fi seriously and intertwines it in the story. But maybe that's not correct.
I thought sci-fi was more like, soft sci-fi was more like Star Trek, and hard sci-fi was more like 2001. Am I wrong there?
Well, like in
soft sci-fi. I'm sorry, maybe not even. Well, I guess Star Trek too, but like Star Wars is soft sci-fi.
Sure,
for sure.
Where it's like it doesn't
space
really,
opera.
Yeah, or it doesn't
get into the mechanics of it.
Yeah, and it doesn't really like it doesn't enter into the story in any sort of like threaded through way. Like
the sci-fi conventions of it they're not analyzed or
and also like, I mean, you could have Star Wars, you could change it to knights in medieval times and there'd be like almost no changes.
I mean
visually obviously, but like this movie you can't take the sci-fi out of it. I mean, you can make it human.
Is that what
but it's just different.
constitutes hard sci-fi?
To me, but I'm literally just making this up. It's not sloppy. It's just soft sci-fi. It could be used more as a lens to human experience of problems than a metaphor than it could for technological advancement. Because it uses a metaphor for overall technological, it falls short. Oh well, I don't know. I don't think it's. To me, it doesn't seem scientifically improbable. Pretty much what got me. Not that this is a bad movie. It's not
I think we're already there in a lot of ways.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about loving something that is by nature not human. It's kind of the same as Interstellar, from romantic human experience masquerading as scientific exploration. But you can have both, I think. And this is a prime example of it to me. He's her first, but she can have an entire relationship while he sneezes. Absolutely. Fair? Yeah. Yeah. See, I don't like Interstellar either. Yeah. Interstellar is another one that like is more than sci-fi, but is also very much sci-fi. It's very, very grounded in like they went to astrophysicists and like every step of the way were kind of trying to. But it ends up not being about the science, which to me is a strength of it. But
I feel like any good sci-fi is going to be through human.
Like 2001 to me.
It's about humanity too. Yeah. Like absolutely. I feel like any sci-fi is going to have a core component. Like Blade Runner is absolutely about humanity in addition, because it's all about, and then what it's not to be human and how close you can get, you know?
Sure. Like what makes a human. And that's a lot of, but I think a lot of people just go like, oh, well, that's, just tack that on. Not really, but like, that's like, oh, you should make a movie about robots, and then the question can be like, what is the human and what's the robot? I mean, like, I don't know. Say something. I can't remember. Nah, man, if I'm reading sci-fi, I didn't have 3 pages of exposition on how there is still. It doesn't do it for me. Okay, fair. Even Star Trek is soft sci-fi for most episodes because it wants to explore humanity more than wants to explore the universe in respective methods rather than like figuring out the universe. Star Trek is using sci-fi to justify what-if questions. Again, no idea how to express this, but I enjoyed it because enjoyed the expanse, if anyone wants that now. Lots of soft sci-fi is not about the science. An example of recent media that involved hard sci-fi while still being humanistic is The Martian. But sure. I mean, this is, to me, it's speculative sci-fi, right? Like, I don't know, whatever. Funnily enough, back to the topic of AI, my experience with it comes from writing erotica for it. That's like, wait, for AI?
Don't just drop that nugget and not expand on that.
I was going to. What I know about it comes from lots of research on the mechanics of it, which came about from writing erotica for it. For AI?
For AI?
Like, this will turn that AI on. Obviously not. But, like, please explain. That's very interesting.
But I really do think that we're there.
Yeah.
It's not as in your face as here's an OS system that can be your companion, but your iPhone or your Android or whatever is your companion now.
I mean, it
is. I mean, most people cannot get through the day without a phone, and that's not looking down on humans. That's just where we're at as a society.
Sure.
Like, we do 90% of our stuff through our phone. And that's just what, like, I have to take conscious active measures now. Like, I try not to get on Facebook anymore, and I'm not on Instagram and stuff, because
Instagram, they understand. I don't think they know what Facebook is anymore.
Is Facebook even a thing? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
No, some of you guys are. Yeah.
But like, it's just, I really do think we're getting to a point where I'm like, because you hear about depression being on the rise and things like that, and I think a large portion of it is that we're not supposed to know this much about other people's business.
Oh, absolutely.
In particular, their romantic idea or version of what they want to put out to their best version of their life, and then that's all you have to compute and receive, and you're like, everybody's living a better life than me, and blah 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 blah.
And then alternately, hey, they made this mistake 40 years ago. Let's destroy everything.
Yeah, right.
Writing about people banging sentient AI. I want to read that, not like that, but like I want to read that.
I want to read it like that.
Yeah.
So send it over.
Please tell me what kind of research you did. That's fascinating. Like how much of a burden of burden of proof or a burden of realism did you feel writing that? And for what did you write that? Or what are the circumstances?
Why does it have to write for anything?
More information.
Personal enjoyment.
Well, no, but I mean, that was a job, he said, I think.
Oh.
There's like VR porn now, I mean. Yeah. I mean, that seems like
what is that? Like, is that where it's computer generated, like CGI porn?
Not going to do it with my hands.
You're just going to do this?
Not going to.
Is that what you're going to do? This is your universal thing for porn.
Yeah.
You're like, meh.
Well, VR, like, you just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Facebook is for boomers. Yeah, my phone is dead most of the time. My laptop is a connectivity thing in this case. Hey, I saw this movie, Rock and Roll Frumpy Man. It's fantastic, isn't it? Instagram is a sad machine. Newer generations will grow up with numbers next to their names indicating their popularity. Oh, gosh, that would be very sad. VR porn can be CGI or non-CGI.
Wow.
So, he buys this OS. He brings it home. He puts it into his picture frame-like looking...
Yeah, this is the scene where he installs it?
Yeah, and it goes boom, and it goes, hello, you've purchased an OS. We're going to ask you some questions about yourself to get to know, so we can further personalize your OS. And it goes, what would you like, a male OS or a female OS voice? And he's like, female, I guess. Which, I don't know, like, would he fall in love with a male version? Because there's not a, you don't think so?
No.
Okay.
And I think that's why it's
Probably
it's an
not,
interesting choice. No, because I think it mimics human behavior so much.
Yeah.
But he was lonely in a romantic sense for companionship.
Yeah.
That was I think that was very deliberate. I think all those questions that it asked and the answers he gave, because then they only asked like 3 questions.
That's too quick. They go like, do you want a woman? What's your relationship with like your mom? With
your mom.
With your mom.
That was your last. It was just 2 questions.
And he goes, I sense hesitancy. Oh, it might have been 2. There's something where he goes, I sense hesitancy. Do you?
It's like, it's just like.
He's like, was I being hesitant?
The thing with my mom. Oh yeah, I was like
being hesitant. And I was like, well, was I? I'm sorry. I was just trying to be clear. Which I was like, yeah, I get that. And then he he just goes, oh yeah, well, it's fine. Well, the one thing is that he's like, when I tell her a problem, she makes it about herself, and I'm like, we got it.
Yeah. But so I wanted to ask you about that because that was it was a great joke.
Yes.
Very subtle, very wonderful. It got a little chuckle out of me.
Yeah.
Also, it seems like, why include that? Like, what was that trying to say there? Because it's the only question asked.
Yeah, exactly. It is a joke.
It's a joke, sure, but there's nothing that he's going to put in this movie that's not supposed to have an underlying whatever.
Of course. I wonder. I wonder if just thinking about it from because what they're setting up for him is an organizational assistant, like someone who's going to micromanage his life literally. Mm-hmm. In the interest of that, maybe if they're like, okay, you're going to have a female person who is organizing your life for you and telling you when things are happening and reminding you to get up for things and blah 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 blah. What is your relationship? I don't know. Maybe they tailor. Maybe they go.
Do you think it was to make sure not to give him that, or to give him more of that, or you know what I mean? But
the thing is, they don't know what his mom was like.
I know.
So like,
it was odd. It was just like, I was like, why include that? It's a great joke, but like, why? He's a great writer. Why not come up with something else?
Yeah, and it is. I mean, it's definitely a joke, but you're right. It's interesting and some of the things, but like some.
The first question was, is he social or anti-social?
Oh,
that's right. That's right. And then it was
And they go, I knew it was 3,
right? And look, I know it's a joke. I know it's a mommy issues joke, and that's great. And it's a great joke. I just thought
from a world of the movie perspective, I'm wondering. Yeah, so they're like, if they go, you don't have any mother issues, we're going to just give you a strict school marmish.
Oh, whatever. Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe he's a little more sensitive. The fact that he rambled on his answer.
Yeah. Okay, so he's kind of anti-social, but maybe a little bit. So it seems and then when he goes, if they're listening to everything and he goes, oh, sorry, I was trying to be clear, and they go, he's a sensitive dude. He's kind of thoughtful, whatever. He's trying to be kind. Boom, 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 boom. And they have, I'm assuming, a stable of personalities.
That makes sense.
But she says that she is kind of an amalgam of personality traits from all the developers who made her.
Yeah.
Now, I'm assuming they have a variety of different.
Oh, I mean, that could be
Whatever.
billions of different personalities.
So there's like a Samantha. Well, I mean, not they don't have a name, but like there's a her. There's a like I'm wondering.
I think you answered it. I think it's that based off his answer.
Yeah.
You got everything. I think what the movie was positing is like this is all we need to know about you as a human being is how you answer this one question, which is a really funny thing.
Yeah, and I
think that's what it was. Yeah.
What's funny is we never hear. I love so many things about this movie in general, but I also love the kind of points of grounding that they give it. Like I love that Amy Adams has an AI as well, and she develops a friendship with them. And so I'm wondering, like, there's a point where she's talking to her, but we don't really hear her. And it, like, part of me is like, is her Scarlett Johansson as well? Like, probably not.
I thought that too. You can hear her talking at one point.
I don't think,
and you could hear them laughing.
Yeah.
Like, but it was like that kind of like you're from Joaquin's perspective, and you could hear it. And I was like, oh, that's not her.
It's not. Yeah. And I'm wondering if like they're like you have a whatever relationship with your mother. You see whatever. You asked for a female, and they kind of gave him like. And now in the original, it's not Emily Mortimer, Samantha Morton. I'm sorry, not in the original. Sorry, like initially it was going to be Samantha Morton.
Yeah, and she was on set, like doing the voice.
Because
she saw it through 85% of production. That must have been a real. So Samantha Morton
she went through the whole thing, and then it was like a.
Oh yeah, I mean she did.
Yeah,
she did. But and Samantha Morton is the actress who was in actor. She was the in Minority Report. She played the main. Cog, what were they called? Precog.
Yeah. Oh, she's fantastic.
She was the main
she's
precog.
In America.
Fantastic. In America.
She's in Morven Caller.
An unbelievable actress. And for whatever reason, they decided in post, Spike Jonze was just like, she did it all. She did it great. And then once we started piecing the movie together in the edit, we realized it just needed something that she was incapable because of the sound of her voice was incapable of giving. It was a very interesting
or maybe like
choice.
Yeah, like maybe or maybe something that he didn't direct her to do. They would have. No, you're right, because they recast it and had her obviously do all the dialogue over. So it's interesting because as you're watching this and you're watching Joaquin Phoenix's performance,
he's performing to Samantha Morton.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I was like, and she is, and I was wondering, I was like, do they? And I was like, I bet they actually have her on an earpiece. I bet they're transmitting it to him, and she's in another room or something.
Well, she was in they had a sound box, a private sound booth on set.
Yeah,
and they were Spike said
it's crazy.
He was like they were never allowed to see each other, so they never met once on set.
That's crazy.
But he kept her in literally the next room of the set in a portable sound booth, and she would perform and do. It was exactly like
and
that.
That's a wonderful idea. Heck of a thing for a notable actress to agree to, because she's like,
absolutely,
like I'm just going to be a sound. I'm not going to whatever. But
and then how much of a bummer to go do all that. Already take that, like have the not let ego get in the way and be like, I want to do this and then see it through. I know it's only going to be my voice, and then at the end you don't even get to use your voice. Oh,
Samantha Morton, but she can disguise it. Now that's another thing. I wonder if she was doing. I would assume she was like kind of Americanizing her voice. But maybe not.
Maybe not. But either way, she can.
Yeah, I mean, if you cast Samantha Morton, you want her voice. I mean, I don't know. But there's
she did get paid. That's true.
Yeah, she did get paid, and she's credited as like an associate producer or something. She's fantastic. She's
it's called Samantha.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he wrote it with her in mind from the get-go, which is why that's really why it makes it so interesting that late in the game, they made that significant switch. But she crushed it.
Yeah, she did. It's a wonderful. I would love, and I'm sure we could find it online. Maybe. I'm sure there's maybe. I don't know.
You think there's an edit with Samantha Morton's?
Maybe.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, let's see. I'm gonna Google.
Yeah, ScarJo really did it.
Samantha Morton.
A great job. And that's what was so interesting. It's just how easily this movie was able to explore like real relationship scenarios.
Mr. Theodore Twombly, welcome world's first artificially intelligent operating system. We'd like to ask you a few questions.
Okay.
Are you social or antisocial?
I guess I haven't been social in a while.
How would you describe your relationship with your mother? Thank you. Please wait as your operating system is initiated.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it was going to be a joke.
Son
I knew
of
we were
a-
going to wait all that what time and it was
Son
going to be a
of
bad
a-
joke. I knew that was going to happen.
Son of a...
But I waited. This is what happens.
Yeah, thanks, Internet, you bastards. Gosh darn it. This is what wouldn't happen if you had a super intelligent AI doing your Google searches for you. But yeah. I mean, it's interesting. And she, like, I was reading a review and someone said...
Bless you. Bless you.
Excuse me. That Scarlett Johansson warms up the film, and she certainly does. She certainly does.
She does, and
Her voice is so. I mean,
she
and the performance is so
through sheer
warm and
inflection,
effervescent. I mean,
through sheer inflection in some of the
Absolutely.
scenes, more emotional scenes where they're starting to question each other or they're becoming distrustful or whatever, and they're trying to gauge each other. Like you seem distant or whatever, but he doesn't want to talk about it, and she's just trying to get in. Like the way she does that, and it's all just through the inflection of her voice and the fragility of her voice. I'm like,
yeah.
I know what that is. Been there, know what that is, know what she's trying to convey, but can't, or you know, she is conveying but can't, or you know, blah blah blah. It's phenomenal. It's great. It really was.
Great. And it also works in the sense that, like, you know, it's like it's almost kind of like a not joke. It's not joke casting, but it's almost like what voice would a company choose to like have a popular product? They would pick someone like Scarlett Johansson.
And why do you think that is?
Husky, like sort of
raspy,
sexy,
kind of,
like
so
whatever.
why do we think? Kelsey asked because she watched it with me. And she was like, why is that voice considered? And she agreed. She's like, it's a sexy voice.
It is,
but why is that considered a sexy voice?
I mean, I think that. Because you're talking Kathleen Turner, you're talking, who's the voice of Jessica Rabbit, right? Mm-hmm. And Kathleen Turner has like a husky thing of a voice, like more so than Scarlett Johansson, even. But people like, I mean,
it's like historically, it's just like through all movies and stuff.
I don't know what it is biologically, psychologically, whatever. It feels full. It feels lusty, not in that sense, but in the sense of having a. There's another sense for that word, and that's the one in which I'm using it.
When you say it's a pop culture thing, what do you mean by that, Madeline?
Like in the sense of like Scarlett Johansson being a pop cult, like if this was in the 40s, they would have got Marilyn Monroe's voice, kind of thing.
Oh, I see what you're saying. She's of the time is kind like she's got the sexy voice. Yeah,
she's a phenomenal voice actor. Yeah, interesting. Watched early Samantha Moore UK Cracker. I've not seen that, but yeah, she's in.
Yeah, Jennifer Lawrence.
She's in Lynn Ramsey.
Lynn
Ramsey. Jennifer Lawrence does. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are a number of them. Even like. Tress MacNeille, who does the voice of like Babs Bunny, like that voice is like has this kind of huskiness to it. It's just I don't know if there was an actress who did it or like an actress who became famous with that voice, with a voice like that, and then we kind of were like, that's a voice that we accept as that. I mean,
because even Jessica Rabbit is a play up of older vixens from the 30s and 40s. So I would be curious to know who was like the first one who like hammered that home.
Yeah, Mae West was a big brassy kind of, but I don't think she had that husky sort of thing.
Lilo, remember Lindsay Lohan?
She does have.
She used to have that.
It's weird because it's like a horse thing, and I don't know. I don't know what it is. Because here's the thing that like there are usually these like stereotypical kind of like we could and not to.
I think they just sent a horse emoji.
Oh, thank you. Just built over time the raspy, sexy voice thing. But it's an interesting thing because there are some things that we can kind of stereotypically sort of attribute pseudo psychologically to kind of animalistic things, like men who are big and strong seem like good providers. Women who are curvy seem like they can
bear children.
bear children well, right? Like stuff like that. Like they're fit to bear, right? Exactly. But Kathleen Turner, by all accounts, Scarlett Johansson really have low voices for women. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it has this kind of not like that, but it's
that sounded like Vader.
Hold on. Let me do it again. Theodore. No, but like it's like a hoarse, sort of raspy, full, deep thing. Yeah. I don't know why that makes us go, oh,
yeah.
You know,
I went down this rabbit hole on this woman who was convicted of like $10 billion in fraud for this company she created called Theranos, and it was this whole thing.
Is that not a Marvel villain?
Right. And there's even a new podcast that just came out, and her name's Samantha Holmes, I think. And she was the youngest, but I think also the wealthiest woman ever at the time before she crumbled at like $10 billion. And what year is this? And she just got convicted last year.
Oh.
And it was all for this machine, this pharmaceutical machine that was going to be able to take, instead of having to draw blood and have it be a whole procedure and like a kind of painful thing and find in the vein and blah, 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 blah. It's going to be able to just prick your thumb and you could find out anything and everything you need instead of having to take a whole bag of blood.
It's great.
Impossible, though. But she ran with it, and even though when she found out she couldn't do it, she still was just like, no, more money, and she ended up raising like $30 billion or whatever. She was like
Margaret Yang,
wealthiest one. But anyways, she had. I was reading all about her, and then I watched a video of her, and she has an incredibly low voice, and I was like, that was not what I was expecting, because it was like a deep voice. I was like, it almost sounded like she was faking it. And then this new podcast came out where they're dissecting the entire scandal and the fraud case. And apparently she was. For years.
What?
She was intentionally lowering her voice because she thought it would give her more of a masculine and more of a presence.
How interesting.
And stuff like that, yeah. Anyways.
That's crazy.
So I don't know, maybe there's something to that as well.
I think maybe Mae West here, like, let's listen to them. Because there's Mae West is the why don't you come up and see me sometime?
Is that? Oh, okay.
Except that sounded like John Mulaney. Hey there, buddy. Come on up here and have sex with me. It can get weirder.
Instead, he pulls up and sees a 28-year-old man trying his best.
I love John Mulaney. Goodness gracious. I want him to have a talk show. Mark my words. Give him a talk show. Those are two different. Those are incongruous.
But yeah, even little. Is this Mae West?
It was a second ago.
Well, when I'm good, I'm very good. But when I'm bad, I'm better.
I see a man in your life.
What, only one?
I changed my mind.
Yeah, does it work any better?
Nah.
Well, I'm caught
Mae West, baby.
I like to take the...
She's
the classic one.
She's fantastic. I believe she was the only female a member of the Algonquin Round Table, which was like a get-together of wits in New York somewhere.
With who else?
I don't know.
With other male, like your Hemingways and your Tennessee Williamses.
Okay, Google. Who were the members of the Algonquin Round Table? Sorry for anyone who has Google Home Assistant, but it's...
According to PBS, with
Dorothy Parker. I was wrong. It wasn't Mae West.
Harold Ross and Robert Ben.
Oh, it was another Ruth Hale.
And what they would...
Dorothy Parker.
And what was it?
They were writers, and they got together and just like were smart and witty together.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, I know. Sorry, Soy. As I was saying it, I'm sorry. Study of vocal fry register. There we go. Can get pretty heated these. Seriously? I want to hear about that. Mae West is an icon. Absolutely. Yeah, thanks. You upset my Google Home. Okay, Google. Please play Despacito. That's the classic.
Choosing songs is only available to Spotify Premium subscribers.
Doesn't work for me.
But
Oh,
the kiddo home.
My darling's home.
But yeah.
But that vocal fry is like, that's a different thing, right? Because that's like that is what a vocal fry is, you know?
No, I don't like that.
I know you don't like it, so I'm going to keep doing it. One second. I'll be. Do you, I'll just
Bring
be
her
right
in
back.
here.
No, I can't.
This is
I
off
wanna show her
limits. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Hi, sweetheart.
Guys, it is getting really intense up here. I never know what to do when he leaves. So, what do you guys want to talk about? I feel like all the pressure comes on my shoulders, and I don't do well with it. I think one of my favorite parts in the whole thing was the video, and maybe you guys can help me out with this. The video game that was featured in the movie, is that... I'm assuming that's not a real game, correct? I feel like an idiot for even asking that. Of course it's not a real game. But I was curious to know, was it made by a real game developer or something? Because it seemed like it could be a real game. And he was just doing this the entire time. Jeff Show. Yeah, exactly. I would never take Lobro's chair. I would never do that. Freaking delivery driver took 20 minutes on unexpected. What'd you get, Scorp? Yeah, I don't know, guys. What do you want to talk about? Lobro, get up here! I'm a big Spike Jonze fan because are you guys familiar with his music video work? Because that's where I primarily know him from, and he was one of my big like I had all his music videos on a DVD that I bought, and I would watch them religiously over and over and over. Like, I've studied his music videos more than I have his films. And I just think that dude is incredibly talented, and he also looks like he's 12 years old, even though he's like 40. Let's talk about propane and propane accessories. You know, I never got into King of the Hill. Brian I've been trying to get into The Simpsons because The Simpsons was another one that I haven't gotten into at all. And I just started. Brian is a Simpsons zealot, and so I started watching those. And I watched Brian Lobro. I think I watched season 4. I think that's when he said it starts to get good. Maybe it was season 3. But I've been really digging that. I know.
I love you. Son of a... Hit my...
I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons growing up. That's why I never got into it. It was considered a sinful show. I had to watch Boy Meets World instead. When does it start going south, though? Is it after season 7? Only good boy, young Jeffrey. I know. I think it backfired incredibly because, like, they wouldn't allow me to watch Simpsons. I couldn't watch. I don't know. I couldn't watch Married with Children. Couldn't watch anything on HBO.
I wasn't supposed to.
But then we couldn't afford HBO. We were poor.
Yeah.
So.
Hi, guys.
I just told him I start rambling when you're gone. So,
Yeah.
How was that?
It was good. It was great. I had to run down and go, like, I gotta go look. Just talking about Simpsons. So he fires up the computer, and she's like, "Hey, how are you? Oh my God, what's going on?"
How did that become a voice?
I don't know. It's a thing.
But like, why is that? How did that become a?
California, man.
That's a thing.
California.
But like, it's not just California. Like,
no, but it's spread from California, as all things do.
And how is that?
Earthquakes.
And it's a dumb sounding voice.
Yeah.
So why is that still like? Why did that become a popular thing, vernacular? I don't know.
Yeah, at some point it became cool to be dumb because, like, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get why guys say bro all the time. Yeah. Even though it's in your name. Maybe you could tell me. And then do some push-ups. Yeah, I need to do some push-ups. I could get about 4. Maybe Mean Girls? Oh, definitely more than Mean Girls. Bro, don't hate. It's a dialect in Cali and then got put in a media and pop culture and just spread. Absolutely. I blame the simple life. The Paris Hilton show. Bro, don't hate. It's a hedge. Oh, it's like a
It is weird how like if you really look at the imprint that Paris Hilton had on society.
Did she?
It's way larger than what we would
So
like
she
to
was
admit.
the proto kind of like famous for being, well, not really. There were plenty of people before.
I think
but,
she
like,
used in the Instagram influencer era.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. Which is crazy because she follows you on Twitter. Really? No.
Paris Hilton does?
Well, there you go.
Madeline, you're part of the cultural elite.
Yeah. Yeah.
Use it for good.
Yeah. What's Nicole Richie up to? And by virtue of that, what is Lionel Richie up to? Because Lionel Richie's cool. It doesn't matter what you say as long as you fry. That's right. But yeah, what I know about the way AI learns a pattern after the way we think we learn. Please enlighten us. This is a very fascinating perspective to have. And also, did you talk about your experience writing erotica for AI erotica? Because I want to hear that. Lil B follows your best friend on Twitter. Nice. With some differences that may seem counterintuitive. I'm jelly. For example, let's say you want to recognize a face, okay? Let's say it.
You want to recognize a face. Bloop, bloop.
Okay, Google, please play More Than Words by Extreme. That's for you guys. The AI will look at basic shapes like curves, lines, etc., then shadows, then layer them into a pattern. Okay, sorry. The AI will look at basic shapes and shadows, then layer them. Interesting. Okay, sure.
Do you think... I thought that...
Then in order that pattern will inform me if it was looking at a face or not. So, but like, how come those things that like are like, when you go like, that goes, are you a robot? And you go, no. And they go, prove it. Which ones of these squares have a car in them?
Yeah.
How come AI
Which
can't
one
do
is
that?
a street sign or has a stop sign?
Because it's like the only one here, you voice activated monster. I think Madeline's got one too. Sorry. Whereas with people here, I know, so you don't feel bad. Alexa, please play Despacito. Hey, Yahoo. Go. Hey, Ask Jeeves. Please play dog porn.
What was the point of Ask Jeeves? Was Ask Jeeves just a amalgam of Google, all the search engine, internet search engines?
Is that what Ask Jeeves was?
Well, it was a butler, but...
My Alexa is in the other room, and I have a very small apartment. How dare you? Hence the time on those images. It's that they cannot do it in the time. We can do something faster than AI can? Really?
Do you think...
Is it because it's a picture and it's harder to, like, it's blurred? I don't know. Anyway.
Do you think that there's going to come a point where AI is going to... I mean, there will come a point when AI is learning and smarter than the human brain. That will happen.
I think, yeah.
Do you think at that point
capacity.
it is going to become a nefarious thing? Like it'll be...
Do you think AI will be bad?
Do you think it'll do that?
So...
Or do you think it'll happen what happens in Her, which is we've ascended the realm of humanity and now we're going to go...
We'll be back in a couple millennia to take
I didn't
over.
really understand where they went necessarily.
Yeah.
But...
Like, I think...
Into the internet?
Yeah, I think they left that sort of intentionally vague. It's almost like they were the next step in human evolution, sort of thing.
Right. Which I think is true. I think that is what's going to happen. I think we're going to evolve to the point that we're going to start, medical science is going to get to a point where it's like, okay, well now we can put, nanomachines in your blood and it'll make you healthier and live longer and blah, 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 blah. And it'll just we'll start to incorporate ourselves over a couple hundred years to the point where machinery will be completely a part of being a
So you're
human.
talking about like cyborg, biotech kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's already a thing, but
in addition to
What am I
everything
talking
else,
about?
but I really do think in terms of robotics, it's going to become a human robot hybrid type thing.
we need a robot Julie Christie baby. That's great. I love that now we can have these conversations.
Yeah.
Now that's a reference that can be
We
made.
do.
I'm very happy about that. No idea how to articulate. I agree AI will be more ubiquitous. AI equals to the fallacy because AI is well not human. Yeah. Thank you, BladeMan1917, for that Twitch Prime sub. Thank you so much, my friend. Lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of love. Thank you. Thank you so much. Welcome to the lobrocop. Hit the showers. Here's your badge. Thank you, man. But yeah, a great example is Google Maps. Restaurants are no longer called by a person. They are called by an AI. They're no longer called by a person. What do you mean called by a person? What does that mean? Manager of the hotel today was a Greek guest who said he didn't want a room next to...
Well, that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep going, Scorp.
That sucks.
I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
Let me explain. Yeah. Call on me. Hello, was Siri. Siri was the other one. Siri, what is life? What is best in life? So if you want to put your business on the map, hours, etc., you're called by Google. Used to be done by a person, except these days it's entirely automated by C. Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Is it good though? Because like I can call AT&T and not talk to a person.
Yeah, that's fair.
For 5 hours and then have a complete nervous breakdown. And they're like, no, we have but it's all automated though, so it's great.
But you're saying that the way you get your business entered on Google is that an AI from Google calls you, you give them your information, and it enters it. Wow, that's pretty crazy. Used to be dumb. Now 99% of people are fooled and think it's a real person on the other end. Oh gosh.
Oh whoa.
I guess is my AI need to divert the conversation.
Does it account for Scorp? Does it account for like does it make jokes? Does it have any type of is it personable? I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Thank you for the bits. Thank you for the bits that you give to me. Yeah, no, but like neither do most call center people. That's not fair. But like, man,
I will literally, like, if I have an issue with my phone or with something where I know I'm gonna have to deal with customer service, I will go without for a very long time before I have to set aside an afternoon and be like, cool, I'm gonna have to deal with this, and inevitably it's just as bad as I had built it up in my head. And usually you build things up in your head and it's not that bad. It's always that bad or worse.
Yeah, I agree. But whenever Shadi calls American Idol, always know people up front. I'm always surprised by how excessively detailed it is. Yeah, but that is because we go into the assumption the person calling you is a real human. So it's got a personality, though it has none. Yeah, man rated as being, quote, businesslike and polite but professional. Interesting. I've been on the phone with Xfinity for 3.5 hours once. Yikes. What is Xfinity? Is that a phone thing?
But
I work at a call center. Sorry, D-Squared. I didn't. That's why it was really
except
just
for you, D-Squared.
It was more a joke about people who make jokes like that, because I can do this all day. Thank you.
It wasn't, and it isn't.
Thank you for the bit. Thank you for the bit you give to me. Yeah, I was on the phone for less than a minute with a drug dealer once. It's Comcast, basically. But the charade falls apart when people are informed beforehand that it's an AI. Yeah.
So, like, are people talking to an AI, and it's like, you're so funny.
Yeah.
He's like, I met this great guy today.
I think he really liked me.
I think he really liked me. Finally.
That's the next. That's AI exotic dancers is the next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's going to probably be the first thing,
if not already.
When robots or those real dolls can become like self-aware or whatever, that's going to be a huge industry.
Well, just when they get to learn how to dance better. Right. So it's not like, like the kind of thing. That only appeals to a very small segment of the. Hey, let's talk about this movie. So he fires it up. He goes, how do you feel about your mom? And he goes,
we're way past that. We're way past that.
Well, what happens?
It is an OS system. They start to have it's supposed to help him out in his day-to-day life. They start to bond and grow closer, and then they eventually start to have... How do they have sex? Is it like they have that passionate evening first, and that's what blossoms into a relationship?
So I think what he's startled almost immediately to find how much of a personality she has.
Yeah,
how
he's very surprised.
Yeah, how quick she is in terms of everything. I mean, how she's funny. She shares his kind of she learns from him what his sense of humor is, kind of. But she also she says, I can't even remember what she says. That's like not. She just says something factual, and he laughs at it. And she goes, oh, is that funny? And he was like, yeah.
Like,
she goes,
good, I'm funny.
Good, I'm funny, which is a charming thing to say.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a very charming, just a very charming personality. So even when AI is doing something that, when you think about it, is really basic, simple, stupid, you think it's complex, human, and real because of our expectations. Yes. Rick and Morty, everyone have alien children. Yes. Have you ever seen those robots they made in Japan? Oh, like that one.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah. That's what it looked like.
Nature people to answer more parts of everything. She told him about how she wished she could be with him walking around. She also kind of felt like she was. Right. So initially, like, she's just kind of suggesting things, and he goes, oh, that's an interesting idea, blah, 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 blah. And then, like, I feel like pretty early on, she's like, oh, here's an email. And she reads it to him she reads an email to him about how his friends want to set him up with this woman. Who's like very cool, and she like does a like cursory Google search, or I mean, in your internet search, like within a second of mentioning it, she goes, oh look, she went to Harvard, she wrote for the Lampoon, she's very funny, and she's smart, like, oh man, she's very, she's successful, like, and she's beautiful, my goodness. And he's like, all right, and he's like, well, I don't know. And she's like, well, when are you gonna be ready to date? And he's like, I don't know. And she's like, do it. Just come on, do it. And he's like, all right. Oh, sorry, that's a different time. That's when he's playing the video game. That happens. But early on, sorry. And I love this. This is like one of the first things that I go, oh man, I love this about this movie. Because the movie's fantastic. And I started watching it, and I was kind of like, and I loved it, and I was like, I love this movie. I started watching it, and it's been 6 years since I've seen it, and I was kind of like, okay, good, and it's all great. I mean, it's all very solid, but like, it wasn't charming me or pulling me in as much.
Right, me too.
The second time around, early on, and but then I realized, it like, as it started to, I was like, oh right, it's like this sort of cumulative, almost like organic effect. It kind of draws you in a very great, like Spike Jonze, like Where the Wild Things Are, like wrecks me. I love that movie. I sobbed so hard after that movie. I went to see it at a dollar theater with my wife and my parents, and we went and sat down and watched it, and finished, and I hugged my parents goodbye, and I was like, cool. Good to see you. See you later. And I got into my car next to my wife and just sobbed. Like, it was, oh my gosh, what a thing. And it isn't like it. His movies feel very kind of flowy in this way. Like, they just sort of, I don't know. And this movie is specifically kind of in the way that it's shot too. I mean, it's just gorgeously shot, and it just kind of happens. Anyway, there's this part early on where he's laying down, and I think she wakes him up, or he wakes up, and she's like, what's wrong? And he's like, how can you tell something's wrong? And she's like, I just can. And he goes, oh. And then he just says, he's like, I sometimes dream about my ex-wife, Catherine. I dream that we're friends, and we're not together anymore, but we're just friends, and she's not angry at me. Or I dreamed this and this and this. And she goes, do you think she's angry? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, why? And he goes, I think I hid parts of myself from her. And it just comes out of him. Like, I love the logic behind the relationship. I love the way Joaquin Phoenix plays it. I love the way it's written. It's just, he just doesn't hide anything. He just very directly answers these very, very personal questions, because... Well,
I think it's the first time he can be open. Yeah.
Exactly, because there's no fear of judgment.
Right.
It's like if you were, and I was telling this.
That's really the beauty of the film is him going through this experience, learning how, like when he visits his ex-wife and they have lunch together, and he finally signs the divorce papers.
Oh gosh!
And then she's like, "Are you seeing anyone?"
Yeah.
And he says, "Yes, I'm dating an OS system." And she gets mad about it, and also looks down on it. But And you can view it on a surface level of like, oh, she's being an asshole. She doesn't understand because we've been with him the entire movie. She doesn't understand the complexity of the relationship.
Right.
But in reality,
right,
her judgment there and her criticism of what he's doing is probably the real truth of the matter.
Sure.
Which is, she says, that makes total sense. I'm summarizing here, but she essentially says it makes sense that you would do that because you never wanted someone like a real person with real thoughts and real feelings and real problems.
Yeah.
And you always wanted me to just be this chipper person who views the world and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I think it took him going through this experience with an AI, and then it had to not work out so he could go to the roof, sit on the edge, look at another real human being in the eye that they're probably gonna. You can take it any number of ways, but I think it's inferred that they're probably gonna get together.
Sure.
And maybe he can learn to be truly open for the first time in his life.
And I love so that's interesting because maybe this is weird or naive, but like there's an interesting point in this movie where after that that so much of this movie just gets me, and it like that meeting, right? I mean, just seeing how sweet they are with each other at first, and how genuinely they care about each other, and just
she pauses before she signs the papers,
and like just the stuff, and just all of it. Like they're clearly there's clearly love there,
absolutely.
And if you've ever been through a breakup or a near breakup or anything like that, my gosh, it's just like, ugh. And I love that initial stuff. She gets angry, and it makes perfect sense, and it even makes perfect sense the way it's written. It just almost feels like... I love that they set up early on... Because when he's first confessing this OS thing, because like Amy Adams is like, our marriage is over. Her marriage with her husband is over in the film, and she's like, and I made a friend. And by the way, gosh, I love this performance by Amy Adams because she just gets to be a person. Like Scarlett Johansson and Amy Adams, both of them, I feel like end up playing these kind of like Amy Adams is in, like Arrival. Amy Adams is in like she's a highly sought after actress. I haven't seen Scarlett Johansson in anything that isn't Avengers for a long time.
Yeah,
I don't know if she.
Right.
I don't know if she.
She got that Avengers money.
Yeah, I don't know if she's gotten married or like had a child or something. Like sometimes people disappear for different reasons. Sometimes they just want to take a break, whatever. But like, although she was like in that Brian Grazer movie, that Under the Skin or whatever. Anyway.
Oh, Jonathan Glazer.
Not Brian
she was
Grazer.
fantastic.
I need to see that.
I hated that movie the first. I'm a huge Jonathan Glazer fan.
Yeah.
I hated that movie the first time I saw it, and I watched it again, and I loved it.
Oh man, what else did he do?
Birth and
I like Birth.
Yeah, Sexy Beast.
Oh my gosh.
And then he's also a world famous music video director.
Right.
He's probably
they all are.
In addition to Mark Romanek, he's probably my favorite music video director. Yeah.
Interesting. She had Ghost in the Shell. Oh, that's right. I forgot. I think he's doing good. Maybe you learn if you hunt dates and can't actually challenge you to disagree with me and it's programmed to be happy around me. Oh, fuck, I did. Yeah, like, but it also kind of sets off. So, sorry. In that, gosh, I'm just branching off like I do. But like, in that, because I love that performance by Amy Adams because she's just a person. She just gets to play herself. And Scarlett Johansson, I very rarely see her get to play just a person in a relationship. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, I love you in this. Because Amy Adams has been in so much and been so successful. I loved her at the beginning of her career. And there's just, I don't know.
She's just done a lot of, look,
just like stone-faced woman.
I love my intense stuff.
Yeah.
My intense dramas. I love them. I love my intense HBO series. Yeah. I love them. But it is really nice to see her just be.
Yeah.
And like go through stuff and real stuff, but not have to go through the end of the world or 6 murders or,
and just kind of go and just like stare at the...
Just
like
heartbreak.
Those scenes between her and Joaquin Phoenix are just like the best of the movie. And they kind of have to be to set up sort of...
Yeah.
But it's crazy because as good, as unbelievable as Joaquin Phoenix is throughout this movie... to the point where I forget how hard what he's doing is. That he's acting with someone who's in his ear, or he's acting like he's basically acting not with a person.
Here, yeah.
As stunning as it is, and it is, when he's in a scene and he gets to react to someone who's in front of him, I just go, oh, this is different. It's just a million times different.
It is.
It is, and it's just so much more real. And his reactions are just.
And maybe that's
so
just
amazing.
a byproduct of acting alone versus acting off an actor. But it also plays into the themes of the movie.
Absolutely, that's fair. But
because he does become, you really feel that he is himself around Amy Adams.
Yeah. Give Amy Adams her... Yeah. Does she not have one? She's nominated for like 2 or 3. She's got one. No? She doesn't have one? She didn't have one? Didn't she win one for Junebug? I thought she was nominated. New Amy Madigan in still movies like Field of Dreams. Interesting, because I love Amy Madigan, and I love Field of Dreams, and I love Amy Madigan in Field of Dreams. I don't know. Amy Madigan is a very specific specific presence, whom I love, but however, better it doesn't get brought up for later. Very specific reason they chose Alan Watts. Yeah, since his character serves as a bridge between old and new, tradition, evolution, etc. Because he was on that like Donkey Kong When Alive, and he also had some thoughts on AI and humans. But anyway, sorry. So when he's having that, when Amy Adams comes for it, she's like, oh, my husband left this OS, and I've made a friend, and it's this OS. Am I weird? And he goes, and he just, like, more openly than you would expect, just kind of goes like, oh, well, actually, I mean, there's a little bit of trepidation, but he's like, this woman named...
I thought they set that up really beautifully, because the way she talked about it was she was excited.
Absolutely.
And so he
opens him up to say
her excitement made him feel very like I was comfortable for him to be like, tell her. Go ahead, tell her.
And and that's funny because she's clearly setting it up, but then I feel like it's a different thing to be like, I'm in a romantic relationship with one as opposed to, but she's already saying I'm in a friend. But I was a little nervous, but then I feel like it was just so wonderful because he goes, she's an OS, and she goes, really? Oh, how is that? And then like, there's like soon after that, there's the scene with Chris Pratt where he's like, yo, we should go on a double date. And he's like,
that was,
and it's great. He just goes, he's like, we should go on a double date. And he's like, she's an operating system. He goes, cool. So we should go on a double date.
Yeah, he's like, maybe we can go to Catalina or something.
It's so great. Oh my gosh. And so those two beats make you go, oh, even that's okay. Sweet, it's gonna be okay. Even though at the end of that Chris Pratt scene, he kind of he's sort of starting to feel like, oh, it's weird. I can't do everything. You know, he has this sort of like, I can't, it's weird. There is this thing that's different about her that I really have to kind of, but even with that, you're kind of like, people are cool with it. People are cool that it's fine. And then he meets with Rooney Mara, and he sets her off a bit because he's like, I'm seeing someone, and she's like, oh, okay. And there's a little bit of that. And then he's like, and it's just so great. She's wonderful for me. It's great to be with someone who's like in love with life and loves life. And she just, and that's a, for her. And he's like, no, I didn't mean that. But she's like,
and he didn't mean it that way.
Yeah, he didn't. But she is like, she's like, oh, you just wanted me to be this, whatever. And then he lets the bomb drop that it's an OS. And then she's like, she has the line that's like, you always wanted a wife without the complications of being married or something like that, which is like, oh.
And that's harsh. And like, you wanna side with him, but if you're really understanding like where
fascinating.
Spike
Absolutely.
Jonze as the writer-director is taking everyone on this ride with this character, I think in that moment, when you look back, I think in that moment you side with him. You do, because you're with Joaquin the whole movie.
Absolutely.
So you're just feeling for him. And you're like, she doesn't get it. She's being judgmental.
Yeah, no.
But if you look back and really watch it, I'm like, no, I think she is right, and I think I mean, marriage is in for a multitude of reasons, but I think the things she's criticizing him for in that scene are true. And through his relationship with the OS, these are the things he works on, because he does become more open, and he does become more vulnerable and less closed off, and he starts to learn more about himself and his emotions. It's like therapy. He's like he's got therapy in his ear, because he has a non-judgmental person who listens to him all day long, and is constantly supportive, and until later on when it starts to evolve on an emotional level, doesn't really combat him.
You think he's a dick? That's interesting. I'd like to hear that perspective. I don't I would say I don't think that. I think
I think he did things that could be considered being a huge dick, but that's I don't take that as I'm talking about in his relationship.
Sure.
That's how I took it, but to me that's just being a human being. That's
Sure.
not, I don't think he's like a dick character. Right. I just think he's flawed.
I think and that's what happens when two people get in a relationship. They kind of flare up each other's. The parts that attract you, the differences that attract you about a person are also the things that drive you kind of insane sometimes. Mm-hmm. You kind of flare up your own childhood traumas in each other. You kind of, all sorts of stuff. I think, sorry, you sound like a stuffed animal with a homemade needle and dental floss. Sweet. Want to watch? We haven't watched the movie. Oh, well, okay. Yeah, I guess make your own. We will talk about the film, but yeah. He's surprised when his dick therapist go right, human or dicks. Who's his dick therapist?
He reminds you of your ex-Madeline.
Oh.
This guy's an asshole.
Oh, boy. Well.
But I think it is interesting that the moment he starts to have conflict, when does he start to have conflict with her? Is it when she starts to become independent of himself and starts to have opinions of her own? I'm just trying to track the evolvement of his character too.
Akasha said something interesting, and it's interesting also given the sort of I guess provenance of this film, like where it presumably came from. Akasha, we were watching it, and she was like, "This is a movie that a man made about when your wife gets a job." And I was like, dang. Because as she becomes self-actualized and begins to have her own life and grows beyond him, I think he's threatened by...
I think you're absolutely... I think that's a very astute observation there.
On her part. Yeah, and she, because it is this thing where she is... regardless of how complex it does grow, and she is able to kind of have her own desires and have her own whatever. A lot of it is, she's still at his beck and call. Like he's still like, boom, whatever, and she's like,
oh, absolutely. She doesn't challenge him for the first half of their relationship, at all. Oh. And I think that's there you
go, Callie.
It's a human trait where he confuses that as like, this is the best relationship I've ever been in. And it's like, no, it's not, because it's an OS system who's there to help you make your life better and easier and more simple, but because it's evolving and you're starting to have romantic feelings, it's becoming something else, but she still never disagrees with you for the first half of your relationship.
Sure. Although...
and what any relationship... I just think that's a theme that he's trying to set up, because I think a major problem in his marriage was the fact that he couldn't deal with the rough parts of the relationship.
But we don't see his marriage. This is all based on what she's saying.
We see the memories of his marriage.
Where they're both like...
and they show conflict, and they show... Yeah. By the way, I loved how they conveyed the memories of this relationship. Not big moments, tiny moments.
Yeah.
Like her just looking at him from the kitchen table in the middle of the night with a cup of coffee, and you're just like, that's a moment.
Yeah.
Like, I know that whole setup. I know what that is.
Yeah.
It's just like little, and how calculated they are, but how completely organic they feel.
And he said that they did it, like, they kind of, he used sort of like...
Did he write full scenes for those? Because it looked like
he was saying that, like, he kind of went about it in the way... He was like, we kind of went about it the way that Terrence Malick goes about stuff. Mm-hmm. Or at least in the way that we've heard that Terrence Malick goes about
right.
stuff. Which is that he kind of, like, wrote sort of ideas and then had them flesh it out and then just kind of... Yeah, exactly, which is great.
Yeah, I loved those moments.
I did too. He's surprised when his dick therapist... Okay. He reminds me... of Max. At least considering she's a naive, she's responding in the way that Theodore wants her to. It's akin to Theodore grooming someone to be his perfect love. That's an interesting thought. Trying to fit into society, appeal to cultural norms. Even his outfit changes versus color choice, all pretty unique, like a salmon shirt. As the movie progresses, his clothes start to look like everyone else's. I did want to talk about that. It's red, 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 and then it's yellow. Like his shirt is red, red. He's red. She's red. The carpet to his house is to his apartment is red. Nothing else is really red. And I don't know. Passion, love, I don't know. But he's not feeling passion and love. He's in search of it. and then she is that color. I don't know. But there's the moment where...
All I know is the cinematographer said he wanted to not... It read as a dystopian future thing, and I did not, and nor did Spike Jonze, want to shoot it as a dystopian thing. So the first decision they made was to not feature the color blue at all in any of the movie.
To make it warm.
To make it warm almost entirely, unless it was more melancholy scenes where, like, when he's walking around the city alone, feeling lonely, and then the city would kind of have a blue shade, but he himself would have the red on and whatnot.
Yeah, and it's gosh, what a beautiful film. Like, visually beautiful.
Visually.
It's
like
gorgeous,
yeah.
striking. There are such wonderful compositions. It just has this whole, like, sort of, like, hazy, like, sort of just pastel, beautiful. Like you're looking at it through diffusion. I mean, it just looks beautiful. And kind of unlike a lot of films. I mean, like, if you know...
They were shooting, like, with a very shallow depth of field. Even in the wide shots.
Yeah.
Like, even in your wide shots, usually, like, you would have a depth of field so you can see everything. But they were stopping down... not stopping down. Like, they were leaving it wide open. And, like, even in the wide shots in his apartment, you couldn't really see out the window at the cityscape. Like, it was there, and you saw it, but there was bokeh. Like, all those things were out of focus, and all the lights flickering from the city were kind of out of focus the entire time. It was a really interesting way of doing it.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of low light stuff. To put it another way, most AIs are analogous to a toddler. Neural networks learn from sensory input that adjust their response accordingly to minimize cost, i.e. a negative response. So look at it from a realistic perspective. Samantha's merely being a mirror to Theodore's selfish desires. But, like...
At first.
Sure. But what in his position would you do to not be like... I feel like he doesn't act like a dick. He just...
No, it's just... He just thinks he's found, like, he's having this wonderful relationship, when in reality, it's an OS system that is mirroring and trying to be the best OS system it can for him. It's a subservient relationship.
Yeah.
And he views it as a very healthy, like, this is the best thing ever. And then when she starts to evolve, she learns that she's so much more complex than a human can ever be, and the thoughts and feelings that she has are so much more complex than a human being can ever even understand, that she's got to get away from that. Which you can take as a metaphor for someone who just isn't emotionally mature enough to be in a relationship, and then having to break up with that person because they're not emotionally mature enough.
If you can't admit that we can be douches, I certainly can. Absolutely. I'm just saying, in the context of the relationship, I don't see anything that he does.
I think it's
specifically to be a dick. It's just human.
I think his emotions are real, and I think the feelings he feels are real, and I think he needed to go through this experience, but to come out the other side emotionally mature. But I don't think what he was feeling was necessarily true, which is kind of the crux of the movie, because it's like, that wasn't a real person. So, can he? It was an operating system.
Yeah.
And that's the interesting debate to be had about this movie, is like, he had feelings, but they weren't very challenging. Like, he fell in love with her. I don't doubt that he thought that he fell in love with her. But can you fall in love with no matter how complex an OS system, if it's not going to have its own true, genuine thoughts and feelings?
Sure. What are his dick emotions, Collie West? I'm genuinely curious. You mean like when she? You mean when she's like, like when he's like, are you ever talking to people at the exact same time that you're talking to me? And she's like, yes, 8,000. And he says, how many of them are you in love with? And she's like, 600. And he gets angry. I think he's a douche, and she out-evolves him.
But why is he a douche?
Yeah.
I agree that she out-evolves him.
Like, that literally happens. Absolutely.
And I think he's a complicated character, but I don't...
Yeah, I wouldn't... I wish to...
I think the whole relationship's misguided, but I don't think I would call him a douche.
She isn't honest? You mean he isn't honest? Neural networks learn from their data set. Therefore, Samantha's response when she starts talking to the other 600 odd people shaped her response to him. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, of course.
Right.
She's constantly evolved. Right. And this is why the thing. And it's a great... I mean, it's a great upshot to the whole. I mean, it's a great kind of denouement. Like she just. I mean, what a wonderful parallel. People outgrow each other. People change. People are in different places sometimes after a certain amount of time because of different experiences they have. And she literally. I mean, this is again wired into the sci-fi aspect of it. Like organically, she continues to learn until she just goes, I'm past all this. It doesn't change the way I feel about you. But I'm also, in meeting all these other people, I felt love for them, and this is. I mean, I think.
But what's interesting is that in that moment, it's like you do in a relationship. You are constantly changing and evolving together, and sometimes you can change. I mean, you'll be a different person in 10 years. Mm-hmm. You will be.
Sure.
And it's a choice to either make it work and stay in the relationship or not. And she chose to not stay in the relationship, which I thought was more her taking mercy on him for his feeble human brain.
Sure. Like she's just like, I can't, like it's.
Like I think she did, I think that's what is also beautiful about it is that I think Samantha did love him.
Absolutely.
And she was capable of love.
Absolutely.
And
maybe
she sacrificed. She's like, but you don't. I'm trying to be as nice about this as possible. Cause you, but you are too dumb on an emotional level. Even if you mature to complete emotional perfection, you'll still be too dumb to understand what I'm trying to convey.
And like it's going to be painful more and more as I just leave you behind.
Yeah.
Like and I think, but he's selfish. I mean, like in the sense that he goes, I want you for me. But I don't think that, like, which I understand. Like I understand that there's an ego. There's absolutely an ego component to relationships, and we're like, I don't want the person who I'm with and I've committed to be with other people, and that is selfish. But I just don't understand what in this movie he does that is, in the normal course of human events, considered particularly selfish or douchey. But I'm of the mind because there's a very
go ahead.
There's a very fascinating. Honestly, it's very hard, and you could have let him know when she. What? Oh wait! Now it sounds like you're calling her mean. Wait, what? Honesty is very hard and very important. She could have let him know when she fell in love with another one. That occurred to me as well because I was like earlier she got mad because he was like. Keeping from her that he was like weird, like kind of.
But that was her in her infant. I think she was in the infant stage.
And she does go like. Remember, she stops mid word and goes, "I don't like who I am right now. I'm going to take some time," which is
that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've heard that. But at the same time, like I feel like, and you're like, because that popped up in my head. I was like, she got mad at him for not being honest about his misgivings about the relationship. How could she not be honest about the 600 people she was in love with?
Because our human brains can't contemplate what's happening.
I also think at that point she was like, it's not an issue. I think she
truly
was like, yes. She was like, I do not love you any less because it's an evolved love that doesn't have to be possessive,
right?
Like, and she says, and it's beautiful. She's like, in fact, I love you more, right?
Which is a very interesting thing to think about the nature of what love is.
Yeah.
Particularly in an earthling society where, I mean, you know that. Loves. I mean, he says it in the movie. Loves a socially acceptable form of insanity, yeah. And it makes people crazy, and for mostly selfish reasons. Like you see too many relationships go off the rails because for any number of reasons that have to do with the other partner's own insecurities, ego, desires, etc., and not being able to accept their partners, whatever they're bringing to the table, which is an inherently selfish
thing, absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
So, and, you know, and marriage and all that stuff where it's just like, I'm going to be with you and no one else, and that's it, and that's what we're going to do here. I mean, marriage is a social construct made by human beings.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we were born on Earth and it's like, okay, a plant told us that you're supposed to get married. Like that, we just came up with that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Reason I think he's a douche have nothing to do with his interactions. Okay, so why do you think he's a douche? Really page turning stuff. That's wrong. They do. What's wrong? They do. Marriage is total bullshit. I mean, I'm going to kind of. I have personal biases about that, but sure, fill me in. I think we're getting off topic. I mean, well, it's interesting because I think that. Well, I mean,
I think it's all in there. Though.
Yeah.
I think it's all wrapped. That's what makes this movie really interesting to talk about. And as you talk about it, you understand how many layers are there and how many subject matters he actually is addressing very well within this movie.
Yeah,
because I didn't walk away from this movie thinking he was a dick at all, and now that I'm verbalizing it, I'm like, I don't think he's a dick at all. I think he's a human being.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a douche. I think he's a human being, but he's flawed, and like that whole sit down for the divorce papers thing. I only came to that conclusion well after the fact yesterday, as I was thinking about it, and I changed my opinion on that scene.
In terms of
like my visceral reaction, my human emotional reaction, because I've been with his character the entire time, was to be like, she doesn't understand what she's saying. She's having a judgment because he's in a relationship with an OS system.
Well, I think
she doesn't understand that how complicated and real it is.
Sure,
but
which she does.
But then I went back a day later and I'm like, no, she's probably. What she's saying is probably absolutely true, and I think it is true in context of the film, which is why she had to leave him at the end. And I understand it's because she's evolving to a point where she can't even understand. But on top of that, I think there's also this level of like, he needs to be in a real relationship if he's going to really grow as a human being. He grew as much as he could with this thing, and he went through that experience enough to set him up perfectly with Amy Adams' character. But now he's going to have to do the real work. Like, his eyes are open to the world and his emotions and to being vulnerable and honest and free with his partner. But he's got to apply those things to his life. And it's not going to be an OS system. It's not going to be just, you know what I mean? He can't just turn her off in his ear and be like, I'll talk to you later, you know? That's not how a relationship is.
Sure. Although I do, well, yeah. I mean, yeah. But it's interesting, too, because much of that, like, they're just being, like, she's just helping him out and doing everything he says. Part of it is that's literally what her design is. But also, like, that whole part where there's no conflict between them whatsoever. And, like, specifically, like, I'm like, because when that scene where she plays that music and then he just runs through the subway system and kind of, like, takes her on a little, just, like, basically carries the... I'm like, how did he do that? How did he make a sweet, heartwarming... like romantic beginning of the relationship like scene between a man and a cell phone? How did he do that?
Right. Yeah.
Great.
It's great.
And I go, I love this.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's
and it's real.
It is
That's
real.
the other thing is, like, we're saying that he's not being challenged because it's an OS system, and then she starts to evolve. Guess what happens in a real relationship?
That's what I'm saying.
It's called the honeymoon phase.
That's exactly.
And he talks about it in the movie.
Yeah.
He's like, well, there's this honeymoon. She's like, we haven't had sex in a while. I was like, well, there's this honeymoon phase. And once she starts, whoa, like, he is super conscious of this because he literally says
absolutely. No, that's what I'm saying.
Once she starts to evolve and they start having an argument, she's like, well, we haven't had sex in a while. And that's when he starts to withdraw once the honeymoon phase is over.
And he also has...
Oh, this movie's deep.
But that's it. Like, that's 100...
This movie is deep!
And that's exactly it. Because, like, this whole thing where we're saying, like, oh, the beginning of the relationship isn't valid because she's just doing whatever. Like,
right.
When you're just in a relationship with... When you're newly in a relationship with someone, you are... just, you know, you're in love with the idea of being in love. You're trying to kind of, you're like having, you're just
felt this before. My goodness,
every little difference is like, how charming. That's what you're being your best self. She's being, you know, it's just like it's all
your neurons are firing off in weird ways, and you're just like, I don't know what. I've never used these. I haven't used these in years.
And it's not until like because the problem that he has with her, which causes him to judge her, because that's what it is initially, like, you know, like at different points, well, specifically at one point, they're talking about a relationship without judgment, but I think that's what allows it to grow into such a strong thing. There's no judgment on either side. Like, he doesn't expect it, so he doesn't judge her because he views her as one thing. She doesn't judge him because she just doesn't judge him.
Right.
And then they grow very, very close. And there's no problem until he begins to judge her, not because of any problem that really arose in their relationship, but because of how other people are reacting to the idea, or because of complications that may arise, how he begins thinking about how she reflects on him. And that's it. That's a thing that starts happening. That's it. That is like this point of this relationship. Boom. Like you have you notice something about your partner, and then you're like, is that something that, do I have, do I want to?
You jump 5 years in the future, and you're like, can I handle it? And blah, blah, blah,
and that is selfish. That is.
It is.
That is ego, but that is human. I mean, that's just what happens on one side or another of the relationship often. And the problem that he has with her is that she is an OS. It's just a thing that he can't, like, so, like, other people might be like, or like, I can't take her on a double date without maybe wondering if it's going to be weird. And he has that thing, and that is and that's the thing that he hides from her. It's the first thing that he hides from her. And that is the first problem. It very, very,
and it has
like one-to-one mirrors a human relationship, I think.
Yeah, and I think you might be right.
Like, I think
you're absolutely, like, now that we're talking this out, like, I think you're absolutely right.
I don't think that's meant to be like that doesn't count, like, automatic part, because that's it. Because much as she is learning who that is, that's what that phase is. You're learning who each other are.
Yeah.
And
it's always roses, like,
absolutely.
Yeah, it's always great.
What's interesting, and then but
I think it's so interesting that his issues are, like, he doesn't, like, the sex thing is almost a non-issue.
Yeah.
In fact, so much so that they go back later in the movie and highlight it to show that that's really, he's like, no, you don't understand. I don't need this aspect, the physicality of it. I'm perfectly happy with the cyber sexting or whatever you want to call it.
It's funny when she's like, we don't have sex as much as often as we do, and you go like, right, okay.
He's like, you're right.
It's funny.
But whatever, that doesn't seem to be an issue for him at all. And when they bring in the surrogate, which is such a beautifully weird scene.
Oh, that scene is crazy, but I love it.
And we'll get into that in a second.
Yeah.
But I just think it's interesting that his issues are, how is this relationship going to play in a societal aspect?
Yeah.
Because, like, if I can't go on a double date and do normal thing, like, it's all about outward perception of what the relationship
which is the dick part, which is very human as well.
But it's a human thing.
He's a dick. He can only have a relationship with an AI who only cares about him. She's a dick because she doesn't let him know she falls in love with a bunch of other entities.
But I think she falls in love at such a rate that, like, again, I don't think it's something a human brain can even contemplate. I think it's all happening simultaneously and in an instant. In an instant.
I would say that I don't think he can only have a relationship with an AI. He was married. Then we see this portion of his life during which he has a relationship with an AI, and then it's suggested at the end that he's probably going to have a relationship with another human being. This is just a moment in his life, part in his life when he had this experience. I don't think that he's so anything that he can only and as the other one, I literally think she was evolved to the point where she's like, it really literally doesn't compromise my relationship from my end.
Right.
The only question is whether he has, and that sounds like, I'm not saying you can cheat on your significant other as much as you want as long as you're fine with it.
Right.
I'm not saying that, but I think literally she was evolved to the point where it was like not a thing.
Yeah.
436, 600 something. He's low-key a selfish man baby.
I think that's true, and I think that is the point. And I think what them sitting on the edge of the building at the end of the movie and looking at each other, the point is to say, let's hope that he's now at a point that he's emotionally evolved enough that maybe he can make this next one work. But I also love that it doesn't confirm it.
Sure.
Because he could easily mess it up again because this is another human being with real thoughts and feelings that's not just there to serve him. So I think I think this is the correct assumption is that he is a low key. I think Madeline put it best. He's a low key selfish man baby. I think that's true.
But in what sense? like
in the sense that almost all human beings are like that.
Sure. But I don't.
And he has selfish tendencies.
Certainly. as we all do.
As we all do.
But like, I guess what I'm saying is like, who isn't?
I mean,
selfish
Collie
and confused. In
really doesn't
relationships
like him,
sometimes.
but
yeah. Good luck, dick boy. Because I think
Madeline's just having flashbacks.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I have a friend who I was like, I need to send this movie and talk. I need to be like, hey, have you seen this movie? And it'll either like make you feel less alone for feeling this way, or really wreck you. And I don't know, but yeah, like because I guess like my whole thing is we don't know. We only know what he was like in this relationship, and to me. He did have this moment of judgment, of judgment and worrying about what other people, and that is, not a good thing. But I think that's human. I don't think that's outsized or not common. The relationship that we're being told he screwed up, we don't see any of. All we see is them looking at each other angrily, and we don't know why. Imagine the sequel. Like Samantha comes back from the other dimension. Yeah, but then it's a horror film. That'd be great.
I think it's him. I think he had a marriage, and I think he loved her.
It is an apology. I agree.
And I think he had his own issues, and the marriage fell apart. Not probably entirely of his own doing, but he probably had a large hand in it. And I think the movie wants to allude to that somewhat.
Well, I mean, because he talks to Amy Adams about it, and she says. She's like, I don't think that was all you.
Yeah.
She has her emotions. She likes to put it on you. Sure, her emotions were volatile.
I think it's both.
Yeah.
But I think at the same time, like, I think
Sure.
The whole point of the movie is, I don't think he's an emotional man baby. I think that's too harsh.
Yeah.
But I think he's
not. He's kind of lost.
He's flawed, and he's got his own issues like we all do. But
sure.
I think at the end of the movie, it's to say, hopefully he's got enough now to find love now, and then to accept all of it.
Yeah.
And make it work.
I guess what I'm saying is
the good and the bad.
I'm not saying he is a person like I'm not saying he's a person to aspire to. I'm not saying that he's got it together. I'm not saying he is a shining example of what one should be. But I do think he's human, and I don't think he's doing a whole lot of stuff.
Well, it says it right. I mean, D Squared, like even his email to his ex-wife at the end is an apology.
Absolutely, and this is he realizes by the end of it.
I think
that
he does feel some guilt for what he. Yeah,
totally. He really likes the idea of being in a relationship, but he doesn't really understand what it means to actually be in a relationship, make it worth both ways. According to Rudy Mara, yeah. Like I don't know, yeah. Like I'm not.
But I think that's a real.
Sure.
I mean, I have struggled with that myself. Like that is a real thing that. I used to think, because like I know what love is, and I know I know it real true. Like I know about all the I know the ins and outs and stuff.
Yeah.
And then you get into like a serious committed relationship where it's really real, and then you're like, oh, I had no idea, and I was almost resistant to it, and you really have to figure, like, you got to learn and grow, and you think you know, and when you think you know, that's when it's going to go really wrong.
Yeah.
Because you have to kind of give up control in order to, and it's just going to be what it's going to be, and you got to accept all of it. Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's true. I mean, I think yeah, goodness. Yeah.
This movie is way deeper than, like, I want to go watch it again now.
Well, it's great.
It's just like we keep peeling layers, and I'm like, oh yeah, and then that meant that, and it all kind of works together perfectly. It's really, it's even more complex than I gave it credit for in the first two viewings.
Sure.
And I already loved it.
It's wonderful. People have different love languages. Absolutely 100% true. Absolutely 100% true. Totally. And you actually shoot your love language. Oh, sorry.
Hey, what's up, MCR fan?
You can.
When we say love language, what does that mean?
What's up, MM7? Lots of love, man. So there's a book called the Languages of Love or something, but it's something that I believe, and it's something that I find true in my relationship with my wife and with other people. Mm-hmm. That people have different ways of showing love, and you show love in these ways, and you understand love in these ways. So some people say, like, for instance, some people's love language is literally language. Like, they will say, "I love you." They say things to you. They will constantly say loving things to you. They'll use words, blah, blah, blah. Some people use acts. Some people will be like, I spent a lot of time thinking about what might work for you. You were having this trouble, you were feeling sick, so I did some research and tried to make something that would be nutritious but would also help whatever. Or like you said you were having trouble with this, so I went and did this thing that I thought would help you. Or here, or even gifts, I don't know, stuff like that. Some people express it through affection. I just want to hug you and touch you and whatever. And there are others. And so mine is physical affection and words. My wife is like deeds. Like I did this, and it was so I'll be like, if I'm like I want to come give you a hug, and she's like I'm busy, then I'm like oh okay. But if that happens a couple times, I'm like because exactly like I express it that way, and so I also expect it in that way. Like that means love to me.
Yeah.
But she's like, she's like whatever. If I forget to clean a dish that I use or something, and she's very busy or whatever, and I just leave a dish there, she's like, I asked you to do that, or asked you to do this in this way. Can you whatever? And I'm like, it's just another thing I forgot to do. I'm sorry, whatever. And to me, I'm like, I wanted physical affection, which is love, and I just left this dish out, which is not love. That's just a thing.
Right.
It's flipped.
Yeah.
She's like, no. To me, love is you love me enough to remember to do this. You love me enough to remember that I said this, or you don't care about this, which feels like you don't care about me.
Right.
And I'm like, but it's a physical, it's a thing, it's like a whatever.
Then hug your fucking plate,
yeah.
Brian.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, so like to some people, they're just different. You know what I mean? Like, and like my dad also. We're getting real deep. Expresses love through like he would cut up some fruit and give it to us, and I do that too. But so yeah, a lot of people marry. Like a lot of people are like, I married my mom. I married my dad. Is that interesting?
It's very interesting.
You heard it here first.
We're going down deep. Put it on a T-shirt. Put it in the merch booth.
There we go.
I married my dad.
Global 2019. Personally, I want to kiss you and love you and squeeze you and hug you and call you George and look at you and occasionally. Oh, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're quoting. You're quoting a cartoon, which makes it sound less. And I'm fine with that. Mine is quality time. Oh, there's another one. Yeah. In other words, I give you my time. I give you my time.
Yeah, time's...
That is... Gosh, that's unfortunately not mine. I'm just like, I want to hug you and I do want quality time. But I'm also like...
affection person. I'm a couple different things. I have a... Like, Kelsey... I feel like Kelsey, she likes affection in certain moments. Like very literally, she's just like, I just need you to hug me. Yeah. And I just need to sit and just like, that's all I need.
Yeah.
And then I'm good.
Yeah.
And then, but I think a big thing is time. I work a lot, and I think that was always and like I had to really when we first started, when we moved in together, I was like, I gotta like get a handle on this because I can't work 17 hours a day and just think that's a normal thing to do.
You're right.
Because you're not a single man living by himself anymore. Absolutely. You can't do that. Yeah. Time is a tough one for me. When I do it, I'm always grateful that I did it. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
But then I'm just like, this is wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad I did this.
Yeah.
And then I go back, I didn't do anything. I'm dead.
Yeah.
Like it's the thing.
Yeah.
It's the thing. Doing all right. Went to the ER. Nothing major. Doing better. How are you both doing? Good. Glad it's nothing major. Feel free to elaborate more if you want. But glad you're okay. We can all agree that making a relationship work is work, and this movie talks successfully about that. I agree. Yeah. Another of my love languages is I will. This might be weird, but I will collect parts and pieces of her hair and make. Never mind. Mine is called.
Dude, that's your love. Mine too.
Yeah. Stop taking my wife's hair.
Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. I love
her. Mine is supporting what you want to do. Oh, that's wonderful. That's the goal, really, to find someone who wants to kiss and love you, but also lock you in a cage and choke you out.
Yeah.
So stream some games.
He's the cop.
Sure.
The cop,
Get married taught me how selfish it was. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah. Share your life with someone, and then you'll realize, oh man, Black eyes, dead eye, black eye like a doll's eyes. My problem is the opposite, and I come on too strong. Sure. As in, I like people too much. Yes, understood. Just had this bad cough for a week. Was getting dizzy. They said it's a mild virus. Eee. What I just tuned back into. What? I married my dad, or I make doll hair.
Look, it's all about par for the course, Scorp. Just get on board, buddy.
Thank you for the bits. Thank you for the bits. You get to man. I like the Scorp was like the hair thing.
Yeah.
Marrying your dad is fine.
He's like, yeah.
Watching me and my brother at the same time with that dope rhyme that you kick. Wow, I can't. So it's my brother's birthday. So
It's your brother's birthday?
Tell him happy birthday. Yeah. Stop stealing my wife's hair. There you go. There you go. But
I can't.
Let's. She's got really
also,
great.
I made
hair.
this.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a knife. And did that.
Yeah.
So I got my own thing over here. Is that love?
Help. Is that love? Am I a robot?
You guys are talking about love languages.
Yeah.
Love?
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the surrogate scene. Because that to me is where
Finally.
Yeah. Well, that to me is where they bring back in. It not bring back in. It's there. It's ever present. But then they explore just a really interesting part of this, like kind of offshoot of this sci-fi reality in which this is a thing. Like, sorry, they because there's the part where they have her on the double date, which is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I love that they layer in the normalcy of people having relationships with Willow S's. He's like, statistically, it's like it's happening.
Oh yeah,
it's very interesting.
And I love how they very
casually
show how they don't you don't go outside of his perspective ever, which is great. So the way Spike Jonze shows that it's more people are doing it. It's just by when he's walking down the street, he just in just one or two shots for the whole movie, he just shows other people on their system. But it's not like a big thing where there's like news footage and then he cut into other apartments and other stuff and everybody's like, it's taken over the world or whatever. It's just very casual. It's just like one person here, one person there, and at the end when he's having the breakdown in the subway stairwell, a bunch of people are on it. And I just found it a very wonderful but subtle way of showing that entire world.
And that's it. And they hint at the world very, very, very subtly and very skillfully.
Which is my favorite way of showing sci-fi. I hate it. I don't hate it. I feel like it's far more effective to show something from one character's perspective, and it feels more expansive to me to just see what they're seeing, however small that viewpoint is,
and just and fill in the rest yourself.
And then fill in the rest yourself instead of seeing these wide vistas, Jupiter Ascending style or whatever, which is fine and it's cool, but it's just like I feel more integrated into that a sci-fi reality if it's less is more.
And I think and I think in a lesser film he would have had like a male best friend who's like, man, aren't these? I'm having an OS relationship with my whatever.
Oh yeah,
or like Chris Pratt would have had, and it's just like this.
It would have been played by who's the bigger guy with glasses? I
was gonna say David Koechner. But
he would have been played by Josh Gad. Like without question,
absolutely sure.
Like without question, it would have been played by Josh Gad.
And it's not. The surrogate scene was him realizing he's not ready for the fantasy he has of Samantha in his head to be real. Well, I think, to me, the surrogate scene, honestly, the upshot is kind of sweet. Like, it's like...
I thought it was very sweet.
Yeah, like, he's just like...
He's like, I can't do this.
This is not you.
It's not you.
It's not you. And just what a great... Because they do that...
That was one of the purest moments of the film in terms of his character. He was like, I'm not lacking in this department.
I don't know you. He's like, I don't even know her. I'm sorry, I don't even know you. And her lip quivered and she...
My lip quivered!
I'm sorry, my lip quivered. I just love you guys so much. And she's crying, and her voice is so husky again that it squeals.
Yeah, it's great. No, I took that scene as like
so great.
She didn't understand why he was being emotionally distant, so she took it as a sexual thing, and that's not what it was at all. But because he is. she's starting to evolve emotionally, and he is reverting back to what broke his marriage up.
Sure.
And so he's not communicating what his real problems are to Samantha that she's taking upon herself, and then that's what leads to that. Yeah.
Absolutely. So it says, which is echoed later in the movie when she starts coming to say, yeah. That scene is so interesting. It showed that, and it also showed Samantha was still naive, not understanding why it was uncomfortable. Yeah. And it's so great because I love this, because every performance in it is played 100% straight. They are playing the extreme discomfort and kind of like mini tragedy and just like, oh gosh, oh, this is so awful of the situation, but it's hilarious.
Oh yeah,
it's so funny. And they're going like, no, sweetie, oh, sorry, not you. She's like, no, I'm sorry, I just love you so much. I love you guys so much. And my son, my lip quiver. And he's like, no. And he's like, oh gosh, sorry, you're sexy and you're beautiful and I don't whatever. And then she's like, and then he goes. And she's like, the way Samantha talked about your relationship, I just thought it was so you left no judgment. And he's like, no, that's like, it's way more complicated than that. That's not that. And she goes, what? And then he's like, and that was almost like a jokey moment. But it
was interesting because like she.
Go ahead.
There's a whole movie in that surrogate character alone.
There's a whole
because what. She clearly is emotionally stunted in very severe ways.
So crazy too. Like there are 3. It's so. That's like the one like Hollywood thing about this movie. Is it like? Well, sorry. No, that's a very. I want to take that back. Anyway, there are 3 women in this film. There's like the phone sex. It's not phone sex. It's like a live person he's chatting with earlier in the film.
Oh yeah,
and she's like,
strangle me with that dead cat.
Yeah, and she goes, and she's like, it's like sexy kitten or whatever, and it's just this woman who has this like, again, just sort of like a traditionally stereotypical like phone sex voice, but it's supposed to be just another human on the side of town, on the other side of town, and you're kind of like, okay, this woman's a voice actress, or like in her life, in the world of this movie or whatever, because she just whatever, and then it's just like it's going well or whatever, and then she's like. Pick up the she's like oh pick, and then they're just like get into it, and then she's like yeah, and then she's like pick up that dead cat and strangle me with it, and he's like
something about the phrasing of that is
what?
Just
and then she's like yeah, strangle, and he's like
pick up that dead cat,
and it's so great because he has like almost like a full half minute where he's like okay, I got the cat and I'm strangling you with it. And she's like, tighter. And he's like, yep, tighter. It's going good.
Tails around your eye.
And then, and he's like, so tight. And she's like, ah. And then she just like, and then it's like over and he goes, okay. And she's like, I just came so hard or whatever. He's like, me too. And she's like, okay, good night.
Yeah.
It's great. And so you're like, oh, well, that was a seemingly like whoever this, she just seemed like a very happy, ready for what she wanted kind of woman, and then it was just like, oh, dead cat stuff, interesting.
Yeah,
this is a relationship. Then Olivia Wilde, is successful and like it works. Went to Harvard and was hilarious, blah blah, and it's going so incredibly well, And then she just goes, and then she's like, yeah, and then everything's great, and then they're kissing, and then she just goes, hey, you're not going to be one of those guys, and it's just kind of like, oh, but like. I feel like I feel like talking about it now that's like a comment on like just how lonely everyone is, like how difficult it is out there.
Very real to me. Like
Absolutely.
I feel like that it reeked of a someone who is on the outside looking in a very successful person and a very attractive person, but cannot seem. Because I feel like it's one of those things like she's so attractive that men can't see her for her like who she truly is and what she has to offer. And like it's an awkward way that she brings it up because it's all leading to a one night stand and she's embellishing that. I feel like
or she's
and she's going along with it too, and then she like pumps the brakes hard and is just like you're not going to be like the other guys, and he would. Absolutely be like the other guys, and he was this is why he's like he has selfish tendencies, but he's not a dick because in that moment he's just like, oh,
sure,
I thought this was that, and I'm not enough of a dick to just lie to your
Sure.
face right now, and just so I can go have sex with you.
Sure.
So I'm gonna say maybe we should call it a night.
And then she goes,
And then
"You're a real creepy dude."
Yeah.
And then it's like, "Whoa, what? That sucks." Oh,
and then that's a layer, which is, this is what's so interesting, because like that one line, I'm like, oh, you have your own shit.
Yeah.
Like absolutely that you're bringing to the table as well.
Well, and it's interesting because she goes from that.
That's
to,
a mean thing to say. That's a very childish, emotionally childish thing to say.
Yeah, and I think because it was like going well, and she was like clearly she was putting on this very good front, and he was too. Yeah, she comes to find out he was too, because like it's not till later, because I was like, oh, he likes her, and they really like each other, and I assumed that he kind of was like, maybe we should call it off for now, because this changed the vibe and it was weird, and I'll probably call you later, but like maybe let's slow down because like there's some stuff associated here that I don't want to. But then later he was just like, I just wanted to have sex.
Yeah.
And so okay.
So it's both.
Come to find, yeah,
He's nice about it, but it's also that's what he wanted.
Yeah, and then but
which is fine if that's what the other person wants
absolutely.
Too. But once he found out that it wasn't, he was like, oh, got it. And then he was nice about it. And he was like, and she was like, you're a real creepy dude. Yeah. And I'm like, that's a cheap shot.
Yeah,
I mean, he is,
and
but that's a cheap shot.
And I think that from her side, as a human, she was like, it's going well. And then she just kind of goes like, but that fear that I have, that you're right there, because it's happened so many times, she's like, and just like this kind of desperation sort of fear comes out of her. And then he's kind of put off by it. And then he's like, let's not. And then she just goes, son of a, and she's like mad at the situation, mad at whatever. And
it's because she hasn't figured out how.
You're every dude I've seen.
Which is because she hasn't learned how to reconfigure how to. She wants a desired result, but she doesn't know how to do it yet. Yeah. So she's still falling back on perhaps like old tendencies of being the flirt and engaging physically on a first date. Like she's very flirtatious and very engaging and stuff. And they start kissing and making out, and it's all hot and heavy. And then she freaks out, and it's like, well, if you want what I think you're scared of, which is for this to keep happening, then you should probably change your tactics.
Yeah, or like or like I don't know.
Perhaps.
I just think it's sad that it is an interesting look into like it's. I mean, she's a sad person. He's a sad person, but it's like it sucks. It sucks when you know what you want, but you don't know how to get it or find it or behave in the way to get it.
Yeah.
Or you see something you think you want and you go, I want it, and I don't know how to.
Yeah.
Like, don't screw it up.
She just fumbled it. She didn't. Right.
Yeah, but I mean, like maybe he wasn't. Because again, I kind of forget about that. That like later he's like, I just wanted to be. But like maybe it could have turned into something else if they hadn't had that unpleasant thing.
Perhaps.
Maybe.
Because I think she's certainly on an intellectual level able to engage him. Yeah.
You're a real creepy dude. So you feel a little uncomfortable with being exposed to his personal life. It's a little TMI. At the same time, he feels the same way about showing an AI OS his life. See, I think it's interesting. To me, he doesn't feel that. Well, I mean, he has little moments where he's like,
because he is hesitant when she first starts going through his contacts. And
right,
that's
right,
what
right.
I think he's referencing.
Oh, I think he's saying he's feeling a little uncomfortable. He's going, yeah. Maybe he gets exposed and vulnerable. Meanwhile, watching him check out Prego pics. Fair point. Yeah, the phone sex at the beginning took a massive
the Prego pic thing. Yeah, right.
That was interesting. I can't watch it if it's too close to the bone. It's a great movie. A Dead Cat Girl is Kristen Wiig. No. Are you serious?
Oh, yeah. And you know what the craziest thing is?
I did not know that.
5 seconds into that phone call,
yeah,
Kelsey's like, that's Kristen Wiig. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. What are you talking about? And then she looked it up while that scene was playing, and it was Kristen Wiig.
That's
crazy.
That is so funny.
Which makes that scene... It shouldn't, but it does, because I'm just like, just knowing it's Kristen Wiig, I'm just like, that makes it funnier.
Then I'm just kind of like, they didn't write that dead cat line. She said that. And they're like, that's the one.
Yeah. Do you think that's true? Do you think they just had him improv over the phone?
I don't think so, but I think, I don't think, well, maybe. No, sure.
It could
be. Absolutely. That's very, very possible.
Yeah.
But I think, even if they had something scripted, I think, she came up with that, and they were like, "Cool."
She's like, "You gotta throw this off kilter." I'm sure they gave him like an intent.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Because honestly, there are moments in this. Those are just the ones like. There are moments like that where I go, "That's funny." it almost derails it a little bit because I'm like, that's so.
That shit happens, dude.
It does. It's true.
People are weird.
I know. Yeah, it's true.
People are fucking weird.
It's true. Not that whatever. If like, well, I was like,
Anytime
if you're not hurting yourself or someone else or a cat, do whatever you like. Do whatever you like. But like,
people are weird.
Yeah. But it's interesting because then there's that woman who felt like, I don't know, she just has such a pleasant movie star voice that you picture someone. Like, it's Kristen Wiig. That's crazy. But you just picture, I don't know. I just was like, that's not who you would get if you were, like, going on chat. But maybe. But very possible.
Oh, you thought it was too, I see what you're saying.
Sounds like this. And then, like, blind date, I'm like, you don't get Olivia Wilde. That's crazy.
I think that was I took that as an intentional
choice.
Which is what makes it the kind of the turn.
The turn, sure.
But because he does the same thing. He just scrolls through and he's like, nah, next, nah, next. And then what is his line that he sends to her?
Frat. Oh, what's that?
He's like, he sends her an email or a message.
To who?
To Kristen Wiig's character. And he's like, I wanna. He gets real.
Oh, yeah.
He gets creepy. And he puts on like his sexy voice.
Big guy. Yeah, right. True, absolutely. Pretty sure the second voice that the dude pretending to be a girl is Bill Hader. There's a dude pretending to be a girl. I don't remember that. That's interesting. It's Bill Hader. That's hilarious. So they were probably, Kristen Wiig and Bill Hader were probably just sitting next to each other. Wolfrap, thank you for the raid. How did it go, dude? How was your Dark Souls D&D inspired D&D? I would love to hear about it. Even though it's a crazy scene, he's talking about a dead cat, still get to see he's a dude who calls sex lines. Can't get no satisfaction. He's also nice enough to let psycho dead cat girl finish. Yeah, and I like those moments, like where he's like, it's great. These very human, honest moments where he's like, next, and then it's like sexy prego pics of whatever, and he's like, and he just kind of is like, let me check this out. It's great. But then, and then the
third person, luck, all right.
Yeah, and the third person is this surrogate who like don't they do that in Blade Runner 2049? They have like a woman come in and they like kind of map.
Yeah,
her body.
I think it's my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah, but I was like, oh, her did it first. But I'm sure they're not the first. I'm sure this isn't the first place that thought of it. I'm sure that concept has come out before in other.
Well, they do it so differently.
Yeah, no. I'm not saying they copied it. I'm just saying.
But I guess they do. They do overlap. Yeah.
But it's interesting. Yeah. It's just I just love how they deal with this idea. Like they go like, this is a reality. This is a thing that would be that would. And
it absolutely would. Yeah.
And it's like, and it's interesting. He's like, she's a prostitute. He's like, no, she just whatever. And they put the little. It's all the very discreet like beauty mark.
Yeah.
Whatever and. Just
I just love that he opens the door and she just takes
she goes,
she doesn't even say anything.
She's like, you know how this works, huh?
Yeah. And it was such a great way of doing it because like within 2 seconds I'm like, oh, I got so much of a idea of who she was as a person just by that. Because she's like, oh, you don't want to engage in this at all. You want to be a vessel completely. But you want it because their love is so pure. But like, what is that about?
It's so interesting because it's a very interesting and memorable performance by her because she didn't get any lines until the end of it. But the whole time, she is so. I mean, that performance, she is there for that. I mean, she's just like.
It's creepy.
In context, it's kind of like...
it's not like unsettling creepy, but it's like...
Like, who is that person? But at the same time, she's... Yeah. And
I would react exactly how he would. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to make this work. And then I'm like, what am I...
Yeah, she's like...
I can't, like, this is...
Boom! And
this is too... you're too real. And, like, this is not... But this is not my girlfriend. And,
in his ear, she's going, yeah. And she's going, yeah. And it's like this. Wait. But it's... Agreed. Yeah, that's what Jeff said. And I totally agree.
Yeah. The whole movie, yeah.
It's so and I love the way he plays at the beginning. He's just like, she's like, how's your day? And he's like, no, he's not even looking at her. And he's like, I wrote the letter for something. And she's like, oh, you wrote that before? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, ease up, just kind of whatever. Yeah. And he's like, okay, all right. And then he's like, well, this.
The only way to ease up that situation is like, we have to address what this is.
Yeah.
Because this whole play acting housewife thing is freaking me out.
Yeah. Only know he knows is just Bizarro, who's Bizarro's news, yeah. And we don't know until the scene how much she knew about their relationship. It's good to talk about it for weeks, months, yeah. I mean, she says that, but yes, definitely. And then, gosh, and like she just like, they put her in a cab, and she's just like, I'll always love you guys, and it's just
which made me think that she had been talking to that girl for a while.
Yeah,
is how I took it.
Very, very interesting. And then then she sits down, and then she goes like, "All right, that was a terrible idea." It's really funny.
There was one line, or maybe even two lines, I wanted to make mention of. Oh yeah, this one. I was like, oh, when I'm feeling particularly blue, I've had this feeling, and I was just like, oh, this one cut me. Sometimes I think I've felt everything I'm ever going to feel, and from here on out, I'm not going to feel anything new, just lesser versions of what I've already felt.
Right.
And the way he delivers that line and everything, I was just like, a tear burst out of my eyeball.
Yeah.
They're just really good. The past is just a story we keep telling ourselves. I thought that was a really interesting line.
Yeah.
I thought there was another one.
I love...
or it was exciting to see her grow. Both of us grow and change together, but then that's the hard part, growing without growing apart, or changing without it scaring the other person.
Sure.
I was like, oh shit, that's deep. Yeah, there's really good lines in here.
I love... Gosh, it's so great. And it's so great because it doesn't... Rarely, in certain... But it almost... It plays so much of it so subtly and so straight without being like, this is a gag. This is what it just lets you discover it. In the sense of like, I love when they have their first kind of like intimate night together, he and Samantha or whatever. And it goes black, which is very interesting for kind of like the end.
Oh yeah.
Very cool. Very, very cool. And then like cuts to the computer. And it's just this morning after walk. And it's so great. He walks in and it's wide and he just walks up to her and he's like, okay, click. And she goes, hi. And he's like, any emails or? It's so great. And he's like, oh, it's so funny. So fantastic. Very lonely. Yeah, so she's acting as a surrogate for a relationship. Absolutely. And it's interesting because it's just like, but then it's also like, yeah. Because she's also just like a beautiful woman who is like, yeah, just this surrogate woman who's like, you're like, okay, like, I don't know. So it's interesting. Any emails? Yeah. And then it's like this it's almost like this. He's like, look, I just feel like, she's like, last night was amazing. He's like, he's like, absolutely.
I just want to let you know.
I just want you,
that like,
and she's like, and she just, she's like,
I love the way she does. She's like, oh, I'm sorry, I thought we were talking.
Did you? Yeah. Oh yeah.
Talking about what I was. Yeah.
What I wanted. Yeah. She's like, did you think I wanted to? Did I say I wanted to commit to you? Yeah. He's like, no. And she's like, I thought we were talking about. He's like, okay, all right, so let's go. Okay, cool. Yeah. She's like, quit being such a little bitch.
Yeah.
It's very, very, very great. Let's see if we're gonna.
And I'll just make special mention. The actual musical score of this movie is fantastic, and it is not. You can't find it. Someone bootlegged it on YouTube.
The Arcade Fire.
But you can't find. I'm talking about the actual musical compositions that accompany certain scenes, not the songs in and of themselves. I'm talking about the actual musical score, which is done by Arcade Fire, is so stunning, and they have not released it anywhere. I managed to find all the tracks on YouTube that have been bootlegged, but you can't buy them, you can't stream them. There's actual articles that I read. There's like, the studio decided to not release it. There's been talk of like a vinyl release at some point, but like it's so bizarre to me that they wouldn't release the score because every movie score gets released, and particularly because it's an Arcade Fire done score, you would think people would absolutely want to buy it. On top of that, it was nominated for Best Original Score, and it's just so bizarre because it's fantastic. It's really good.
It really is, truly. It's on SoundCloud. Oh,
is it? And D Squared, is it the actual score? Because then I could rip it. I guess I could rip it off YouTube too. But
yeah, that's crazy. Well, while we're talking about interesting like when we talked earlier about the omission of the color blue. I was reading this thing that was very interesting about the clothing, like the costume. Did you read that about that? Where it was like interesting. And there are these little things like this where you're kind of like, is that what genius is, or is that did that just happen? Where they were talking about how to make it look, because it's like futuristic by a bit. It's supposed to be, I think it said it was supposed to be 2077, which is significant. Like, I feel like we'll be there in a couple years, and we're not really already there, but they're just holding the technology back.
Yeah.
You know? But they're talking about how they were going to go about like making the clothes kind of futuristic without being like ostentatious. And she was like, the costumer was an interview, and she was saying, or an excerpt, she was saying that instead of doing what a lot of people do, which is like adding certain futuristic elements to clothes, they decided to subtract things so that it would kind of, so like no one has a belt, no one has a tie, almost no one has a collar, no one has baseball caps, there's no denim. Like they just picked certain things to subtract so that it seemed kind of unusual and unique in a way that they were saying that you can't put your finger on it. I was like, what an interesting way to go about it. Like not trying to speculate what will be invented or what will be in fashion, because like it's like the thing where you go back and watch Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey and you go like, wow. But like, although they
Back to the Future 2.
Although they kind of, I feel like Back to the Future 2 and Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey, like they did it the right way if you're going to do that, which is to go big and ridiculous, so that like you get to that age, like that year, and you're like, well, yeah, but that was always big and ridiculous. It's always kind of like a whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
There are different things where it's like,
but I always viewed Back to the Future 2 as like, cool, that's what 2015 is going to be. No question. If anything, we're going to have hoverboards.
Yeah, exactly.
And self-powered laces.
Yeah. And, but like usually it's just like, oh, it's like a hypercolor hat that like we have now for some reason. It's like, but that was an interesting approach, I thought.
That's why it's always like, I can't wait to get to work on some level with a costume designer who is truly a genius in their own right. Yeah. And you're just like, hey, I want to work very closely with you because, you know, I'm a director and I want to make sure, but like, you're such a brilliant person that I can't wait to just kind of let you go do your thing. Absolutely. And here are the parameters that like what I kind of thought, but then you can take that and just do that thing where you're like, oh, I'm going to subtract and make a whole world of costume. Like costume design and production design. Yeah, and it's like so underrated, I feel like to outsider people who aren't in film industries or whatever. And it's such an integral, important job. Like it's so important. That's what, and it's so hand in hand with the DP and the visual aspect of the film. Like I think DPs like cinematographers get a ton of credit for the overall visual look of the film, rightfully so. Yeah. But on top of that, it's like the costumes and the color choices of the costumes, and then the color choices of the production, and how all three of those things are working in complete unison with each other, because they talk a lot. Absolutely. And that's why you get a cohesive vision, which is why Her looks the way it looks. Like, look at that. Yeah. Just look at this. Yeah. Look at the colors here, and the red. Like all the red matches. Red. You know, it's all red. That's all calculated, and that's so cool. Red, yeah. Why can't I? There, right? Yeah, yeah. And I mean, like, right. Ideally, that's the thing, and that's the dream, right? And that's the difference between really working on that level, because like people give a lot of like, they're like, oh, that movie's crap, and you're like, yeah, sure, whatever, but like, if you really pick it apart and look at the costume design or even the score, even the like, all of it is like, this is, if this was not there, it's stuff that we take for granted. But if it wasn't at that level, it's the things that you point out and go, that's a joke. And you're like, that's not a joke. That's people working very hard who are not on this level. Yeah. It's like, it's, because like ideally, I mean, that's what it is at that level is you get these people who are, you know, part of a very select group of the best people in the world at their job. Yeah. And you go, here is the idea. Mm-hmm. These play in this playground, and they all go off and come up with 3 or 4 brilliant things. Mm-hmm. And they come back, and ideally the director, his or her job is to go, yes, no, yes, but this, no, yes, 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 yes. And that's it. Like, the job of the director is to protect the vision. Yeah. And the job of everyone else is to try to fit the vision. Yeah.
great. I mean, that's the idea.
It's really cool when
you can't see red.
when you just have a bunch of like all stars.
Absolutely, yeah.
All working together. Like anytime I see.
Technically, the shirt is salmon. Ah, I see.
I don't know. I think that's why I like watching Apocalypse Now so much. I just like the sheer talent that went into so many things that had to make that movie what it was.
Yeah.
On all fronts throughout.
The organization of so many drug dealers to get the amount of drugs that needed to be consumed on that set. I mean, it's just.
I mean, it's a you gotta respect it.
It's a Herculean effort. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
No, that's it. You ruined it.
Sorry.
With your shitty Coke joke.
Yeah! Why am I making this? What is this? This doesn't make anything better.
You on too much Coke and then shitting it out.
Oh man. Yeah. I like at the beginning when he says play a melancholy song.
Yeah.
And the song starts and it goes, when you know you're gonna die. And he goes, and play another melancholy song.
When you know you're gonna die.
Like it's literally those words.
Yeah, that's great.
But it's just so, like, I laughed once when he said, play a melancholy song. I was like, I just can't imagine being in such a poetic, sad, wishing in a well person that you would go, like.
I know all the time.
No, I know.
I go on bike rides and I'm like, where's my sad playlist?
Sad playlist, fine. To actually call it melancholy is so funny. I mean, I would do that too, but, like, it's just really funny.
Oh, boy. I loved when they're in the cabin and she's like I'm gonna. She's essentially saying I'm gonna leave and blah blah blah, and he's kind of laying down and he's looking at a piece of fabric and the dust falling all around it as she explains what she's becoming and how she's a bunch of different things and all this dust is like that shot is the one shot I remembered 5 years later from this whole movie was that shot, and when it came on I was like, I remembered exactly how it was framed and everything.
I love
it was beautiful.
That's great. I love the like very showy but very awesome shot where like after they had their fight and he's kind of feeling very lonely. He's sitting on a concrete kind of whatever, and there's a giant video screen behind him, and this enormous owl or hawk or something is coming with its talons right for him, and it's just like that's just like it's a music video director, but it's great.
It's great,
fantastic,
it is great,
so good.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean it really man. And then Alan Watt was Brian Cox, right? That's Brian Cox's voice.
No, it's not. It's
no freaking way. That's not Brian Cox.
I thought it was who's in all Wes Anderson's movies that aren't Brian Cox. Darling. He always calls everyone darling. I'll tell you right now.
All right.
Son of a bitch.
I'll look at it. Here we go. Let's see what. Alan Watt, huh? Alan Watt. Someone in chat has probably already said it. All cast and crew. Cast.
Michael Gambon.
Michael Gambon? Oh, you're right. He's in it.
Is it him?
He's in some Wes Anderson stuff.
I just looked him up. Is it not him? I didn't see
Oh.
But that's who I thought it was.
Kristen Wiig is Sexy Kitten. Wow. That's crazy.
How do you pronounce it? Gambon?
I would say Gambon, but... Oh, yeah, Spike Jonze is the... Hey, fuck you, buddy! Like,
is he?
Yeah, is that kid. This is funny.
I loved that whole video game thing. I thought...
Yeah.
I asked him while you were gone if... I was like, is that a real video game?
That's who that dude is. Oh, my gosh. It's funny, the two characters. Mother Who Dated Pricks. New sweet boyfriend of Mother Who Dated Pricks. It's funny. Remember when they're watching she's like... They're watching the two people, the couple, and there's like kids, and she's like, "Look how much she loves the kids," and he's like, "No, I think it's a new relationship."
Oh yeah, who's that guy? What else?
He's just a guy who's in some Duplass Brothers movies.
Let me see his face.
He's in like Baghead, which I don't know if you've ever seen.
Yeah, I know that guy. I recognized him. Maybe it was. I'm not seeing it here.
Brian Cox, Alan Watts. Okay.
God damn it.
Okay. There's
whatever. You're right.
There's just Michael Gambon is Dumbledore. Liked his miserable shower shots too, dripping face and water to the feet.
Yeah, that was a great shot.
Yeah. I've not been in the shower very often, but yes, I sympathize. Alan Watts, the chat AI. It's like the shot of the kettle in that scene. Yeah, where it's like whistling. Yeah, yeah. But it's interesting too because it's like it's interesting. It's an interesting thing. The whole Alan Watts thing, because Alan Watts is this philosopher, this thinker, and basically this brilliant dude who had some thoughts on being and I believe AI as well. Would you describe your smell as spicy? My smell? The way I smell? No. Are you saying that because I'm half Hispanic? Are you being racist? Or am I being racist for suggesting that you're...
Hey man, why can't anybody be spicy?
I'm about to do something that's a little spicy.
In your butt?
And it's in my butt. It's in my butt.
You gonna spicy poop in your butt? Ew! He just lowbro farted.
Sorry guys. Since I don't
I
shout.
felt like you forced that one too, so you probably
No, I didn't.
You probably really did poop a little bit.
I let go. I didn't force it. I'm sorry you're here. I mean, not in that soon.
He did. He pooped this butt.
No, I didn't poop in my butt. I didn't poop in my butt.
Dude, you
Guys,
did.
Let's talk about film.
Oh, God.
Let's
smells
stop.
like Dookie in here because you pooped in your butt.
Does it really smell? No. Okay. I'll try harder.
I can't smell anything. Did you know that?
What?
I can't smell. I have like...
You're like Selma Bouvier, like a bottle rocket
I don't
shut
know
up your
that
nose?
reference.
Oh, watch more Simpsons. You'll get it.
I don't have I only have like maybe 35% of my smell.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
How do you like food?
I just kind of like it.
Seriously?
Yeah. Like for real. I got really sick.
You're a monster.
I got really sick like 7-8 years ago.
What the really?
And I was taking a bunch of nasal spray, and
it, like, froze your nerves or
no one
something?
told me that I wasn't
Was it
supposed.
Afrin?
That,
Not to.
I think it was.
Yeah, because it's like steroids. You're not supposed to do too much.
And no one told me I wasn't supposed to I was supposed to regulate it or whatever. Like.
So you used to have smell.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And it just destroyed it like completely. Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Real bummer. Because I do. My taste is not great.
I'm so sorry. Yeah. I can fart around you as much as I want, though.
Yeah.
Quick. Then it gets in your mouth, and then you're screwed.
All I need is to go deaf, and then Kelsey can just rip it up all the time.
Yeah. Do you guys not fart in front of each other?
So here's the thing. Over New Year's, because we hadn't, and I was just like, we got to do this. Like, it's got to happen.
This is adorable.
But it's like a phobia of mine. More mine than her. She's like, just do it. And I'm like, I can't. And then she's like, just do it. And so I did.
You punched in the stomach anyway.
I did over New Year's, and we broke. I was like, cool, we broke new ground. And then we were arguing about it literally before I left. I was like, you haven't done it yet. She's like, it's just because they're quiet. And I'm like, you're a liar. And I'm waiting for you to do it because
she's gonna wake you up one day.
Because I'm like, I can't smell, so it's just like you don't have any issue there. So just do it. Just like let's get closer by farting.
Yeah.
Which is the only scene
that
I felt like was missing from this movie because it was so intimate about relationships and so real. And I'm like, no one addresses farting in a relationship.
Yeah.
Because if you have a real relationship, you're gonna have a conversation about that at some point. You really will.
Crap with the door open and with each other, and it's just. Yeah.
Well, that's weird. No.
You haven't done
No, she's walked on me a couple times.
You guys.
And we just laugh.
Okay.
Because I'm just like, I'm pooping.
Do you close the door?
No, and then I'm like, make eye contact with me. And then I go,
look at me, look at me, look at me. It's what I ate. It's coming through me. It is a metamorphosis.
Just do I boom.
I ain't doing day-to-day until they implement fights functionally. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think that's why I like the Goodwill Hunting scene, and I think it's an improv line that he threw out there where he talks about his wife's fart. Yeah,
he used to fart in his sleep.
That's a wonderful, because that's a very human.
You fucking talk more than any fucking shrink I ever fucking had.
It's goddamn fucking fire.
It's game 6.
Hey, it's fucking fire.
I don't care how little Troy calls you. That's game 6. That's Pud.
It's so Boston. Yeah. I get it. I get it. It's Boston. So, do you like Ben Affleck? I love him or I hate him. Sometimes I'm like,
Sure.
I think I just want him to direct. I'm like, you're really good at directing. You should stop.
He's like Chasing Amy. He's good in Chasing Amy. He's good. He's a good actor.
He's good because he's
charismatic.
He's punchable. Like, he's a dick in Chasing Amy, and that makes it work. I'm not saying he's a bad actor. I'm just saying, like...
No. I know. I like him in... I think I remember liking Forces of Nature. I only saw that once.
am not surprised to hear that.
All right, man.
And I'm not going to say anything else.
All right, dude. All right.
Here's him.
Hey, smell this. No, you can't.
Here's Ben Affleck on the cover of Forces of Nature.
Yeah.
He's just kind of leaning to the side profile. He's just like this.
Yeah, and
then she's leaning on him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Awkward.
He was casting
Opposites attract.
Gongo because he looks like a guy. Yeah. Chasing Amy. I think he's a charismatic actor. He's good. I like him.
I like Mallrats.
Yeah. Wait, in Mallrats? He's a total dick in Mallrats.
I know.
Okay, all right. I think I have that thing with I have that thing with Matthew Broderick. I like him in movies where he's a dick. Sorry.
Matthew Broderick.
Yeah. Well, not a dick, but he's just like very like Election and You Can Count on Me. Have you seen You Can Count on Me yet? You should see it.
No, Ben Affleck's in Election?
No, sorry, I'm talking about Matthew Broderick.
Oh, yeah. Right.
I love it.
I haven't seen You Can't Count on Me, no.
It's fantastic.
Go.
It's great. You should watch Election if you haven't seen Election.
Yeah,
if you haven't seen Election,
great.
you should watch Election. 2 movies you should watch, Election and Quiz Show. You should watch those movies right now. Right now. What do you want to do while they're watching Election and Quiz Show? Did Ben Affleck really direct a movie called I Killed My Lesbian Wife, Hung Her on a Meat Hook, and Now I Have a 3-Picture Deal at Disney? Maybe.
Are you implying that he killed his lesbian wife,
No.
hung her on a meat hook, and that's how he got Batman? I don't understand.
I think that's actually the title of a movie. I don't know. I'm confused. But I feel like that is, yeah. Probably a short film. I'm assuming that's a short film. Maybe not. I mean, we've said a lot. Are we coming to the end?
I think so. I just want to add real quick. Oh, that would have been... damn it, that would have been great. This has nothing to do with anything. I just wanted to let you know because I think you would appreciate it.
Okay.
I'm a huge... Like, when I find an actor that, like, I feel is really next level... I always get really excited.
Yeah.
And my favorite actor of all time is Philip Seymour Hoffman. And anytime I would watch him do anything, I was like, you're operating on such a weird level beyond most actors, even great actors. And I just felt like he was doing just insane, beautiful stuff. I started watching The Sopranos recently, and I am so sad that I am just now realizing the greatness that is James Gandolfini. Like, he is unbelievable. Really? Like, and it's that Hoffman level of acting that I'm like, you're doing... I don't even know what you're doing, but you're just being, and it is like the subtlest of looks or head tilts that just deliver devastating blows. And it's even more enjoyable because he struck the absolute jackpot and is like, I'm so excited that I'm finishing up season 2 tonight. Yeah. And I have a couple more seasons to go, but like he has, is it 7 seasons, I think? 7 seasons to explore a single character as complex as this dude. And it's just like, I don't know, like they put it up on Prime. Maybe we can give you access to that too. Cause like,
we've got it.
You do have Prime?
We got Prime, yeah.
So it's the Sopranos 20th anniversary, so they put them all on Prime.
Oh, nice.
I'm just saying, if anything, watch that first season because it's stunning, and it's only 10 or 11, 12 episodes, and it goes by quick, and I think you would really appreciate it.
So we've been watching one thing we did start watching with Netflix is that 90s, that CNN
which I
in the
put
90s.
in my queue. I'm very excited
Great.
to. Yeah.
It's great. The first one is about TV. It's like the first 2 episodes about TV, the third one's about music. And then they get into like politics and world events and stuff. I wish they had one about movies; it would be amazing. But it's great because it starts with The Simpsons and then it goes into Twin Peaks and then it talks about
That's cool.
talks about NYPD Blue, which I was far too young to watch.
Me too.
But it like
Sipowicz, but
yeah,
right.
But it's fascinating to kind of be like, oh man, this is the cultural impact this had. This is why, and like it makes me just want. Then they talk about Cop Rock, which I had heard of, but did not know, like really hadn't seen anything of, and now I really want to watch Cop Rock. And they do talk about The Sopranos. My dad is the sweetest, so funny. My dad like gives me interesting presents sometimes. One time, like I think for my birthday or for Christmas or something, like gave me like a whatever, and I opened it up, and it was like, I think he's like, you like movies, so he gave me like seasons. I want to say 2, 4, and 6 of The Sopranos. I was like, that's really kind.
Yeah, that's great.
He was just like, that looks like something he would
right.
But it's just like, it's like, what do I do with 2, 4, and 6? Like, I don't know what to do with that. But it's really,
that's really
very sweet.
That's adorable.
Yeah, it's like, and I'm like, oh. But I want to watch it. Phil's Graphy like multiple dimension space creatures AI comes down to our level. Toyless. Yeah, Toyless. Absolutely. He just seems so comfortable. It's like who's Phil Seymour Hoffman. There's a scene, and this is unfair. This is an unfair comparison in a way in which I'll detail. But there's a scene in Magnolia where never mind. There's a character who passes away, and 2 characters, one played by Philip Seymour Hoffman and one played by Tom Hanks, are both Tom Cruise. Thank you very much. Are both very much affected by that character passing away. That character's passing away, and and the person they focus on immediately is Tom Cruise, who's just going, like that, and you're like, oh man. Cut to Philip Seymour Hoffman, who is just crying. Who is just not doing, just there, crying, and you're like going, oh, Tom Cruise, and they cut to Seymour Hoffman and Philip Seymour Hoffman, and then you go, and it gets you because you're like, now that's unfair because they are experiencing that emotion in a different way, and the way Tom Cruise is going about it,
angry, But to me, it's Tom Cruise's best performance.
But that being said, crazy because it's like so again, it's not a fair comparison. I'm not calling Tom Cruise a bad actor. That's a ridiculous thing to say. Watch Tom Cruise in just about any movie. He's a phenomenal movie star and a very, very, very good actor.
Yeah.
But those 2 things, you go, oh man, there's a guy really like putting the stuff to it. He's really acting, and then you go, oh. That's it. There's a guy being.
And then he just looks over, and he looks out the window, and he walks over to the window as he's crying, and he walks over to the window because he starts hearing things hit like on the pavement outside. And he walks over, and his eyes, like still in that moment from the bed, and his eyes just go like this, and you don't see what he's looking at. He's like, oh my God, there's frogs falling from the sky, and it's just like the way he delivers it is so.
Gosh,
I get chills. Like he was beyond. I was so crushed. I've never ever been emotionally affected by a celebrity passing away because as much as I respect and feel sad or empathy for people who pass away that I admire or respect, it never affects me in any real way because But with him, for 2 days, I was just like, I don't know what to do because like it was the first time I've ever had that type of feeling. Like my mom always described how upset she was when John Lennon died, and I was like, oh, this is what that thing I'm feeling, and I was just, I was wrecked. I did because he was just. I felt like he had given us a catalog, like a portfolio of performances that were just beyond anything, and yet he was so young that he could have gone another 40 years of giving performances,
and that's it. I felt the same way, and I think. Like Heath Ledger hit me that way, because I was like,
because he was just finally figuring out. He figured out what he was.
Broke back, and he did, and he did whatever, and I was like, oh
same
my God,
deal.
There are going to be so many wonderful. Like now he's got it, and now it's going to be great. And it was so tragic for me because it was nipped right in the bud before he really.
He had just figured it out. He had done 3 in a row. He was like, oh, he got it, and then with that Joker one, he was like, he really figured it out. He's now going to become. He went from like a good actor to like that special level of talent because that Joker thing, I mean, it's almost cliche to say how great it was, but like, it really was something. I was like, oh, you're doing that Hoffman thing where I'm like, I don't even know what this is, but it's amazing to witness. And then that was it, and that was the last one.
And I think I literally like for 2-3 days, yeah, maybe, yeah, I was like down, and then I think I just was like sort of like numb to it, and I mourn for the things that the roles that we didn't get from Philip Seymour Hoffman, and of course for like goodness, I mean the pain that both of them had and stuff, but like,
and yeah, it's such an interesting thing to analyze because I you know, he clearly. I think his ability to be as good as he was, there's a direct correlation to how much he felt in his day-to-day life, which therefore was very hard for him to deal with on a personal level, and which is why he had a proclivity for drugs and and all that stuff. It's a dangerous thing to be that brilliant. I really do. When you're a genius in any field, I think it's always that it's a dicey. You're on that edge all the time.
Capote. I need to rewatch Capote. Gosh. And then of course, gosh, like Robin Williams was that one just tore me up because my childhood and everything else.
That was a hard one too. But at least with him, I knew enough news about it to where I was like, oh, he knew what was going to be on the horizon. Like, I don't think it was just depression that led to it. It was the nature of that he knew he was diagnosed with. I thought he was diagnosed with something that was going to really cripple him.
Yeah, but then there were reports that came out that like medication that they had put him on kind of drove him in a direction that like they had side effects that caused depression and suicidal ideation and all sorts of stuff.
Maybe that's that too.
I mean, it's just it's on Prime. Nice. Well, I've got it. I own it. I've seen it. So I'm just a big deal. But yeah. Well, this was sad. But yeah, to wrap up her, I think.
But Joaquin Phoenix is still alive, so that's cool.
Joaquin Phoenix is great. Honestly,
he's a treasure.
I don't know what to think about this Joker movie coming out, but like Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker,
that'll be
in a vacuum is like one of the most exciting casting choices I've ever heard.
It's honestly the only one that I could be like after Heath Ledger. I'm like, oh, I'll go see that for sure.
Absolutely. And his emotional forehead. Who? Me? Wait, who? So just rounding out her, I think. Just what a wonderful meditation on all of it, on AI, on relationships, on love, but really on relationships and love. I mean, it is this sci-fi movie that is fully a sci-fi film. Mm-hmm. But is just so deeply invested in its characters and its story that we get this rumination on human love and human relationships. And I think to me, we say, we've said a lot about, what his problem. Why can't I do this? Why is this so hard? What his problem
flexing,
is.
Bro?
Certainly not. But I think that the point of the film remains clear. And it's interesting because, again, as I was watching this, I have a friend who's been through a really, really tough breakup, and I wanted to suggest it, and was kind of going back and forth and kind of going like, if they haven't seen it, I didn't want to be like, I was like, I think this will be helpful. I think this would be cathartic, or maybe perhaps be something in that direction. But then I was also like, I don't want this to be too whatever. And it ends on this note that I was like, nah, man, this is great because they just have in that last such a sweet conversation that, she's like, come lay down with me and this and that. And then she's like, and he goes, and in kind of mourning the relationship, he just goes, I never loved anyone the way I loved you. And then she's like, me too. And now we know how.
Yeah.
And that is the thing. That I just go, oh. And that's it. Like that's it. That is the thing. These relationships that we go through, especially the ones that we're so certain are right and whatever. And if relationships end, and they're tragic sometimes, and we don't understand why, but they allow us to love better. They teach us things.
It's such a this movie just provides such a positive way to view what can be a very heartbreaking thing.
It's a very nice way, yeah.
And it's just it's a very I heard some people had issues with the ending, and I'm like, the ending is like what makes this whole movie work for me. It's like it's just a hopelessly positive, but it's not in any way schmaltzy, you know. Just I was like, that's a very real, like, they're not saying that those two are going to end up together. It's like they both have the tools necessary now to hopefully make it work if they apply them.
Sure. And not that it's going to be easy again, because you just put another...
nothing ever is.
Yeah, you put another person in that place, and it's like, nah, man, like, whatever. It's an emotional movie, but it's positive throughout. Oh, your heart. I'm so sorry, Madeline. Really, truly. There's nothing, you know, that hard stuff is the tough stuff, you know what I mean? And it's just, yeah. But that's it. That's it.
It's a good movie.
You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and then you have the facts of life.
Which is going to bring us into February, baby!
So here, and actually this is something that I want to, and this, my gosh, we could have been talking about this all the way through, but our next film, we're going to move into February, and it's going to be various expressions of love. But our next film, for next Sunday, is going to be Sofia Coppola's Lost in Translation. And it is not without some measure of design that's our next film. Because, watch it by yourself, yeah, sure. Do you hear singing? Yeah, probably. I heard a quote recently that said something, love is always a debt you take out that you will repay someday with pain, but it's worth it every time. You love that movie. Now, here's the thing. It is very similar to this film in some ways, in the sense that it is kind of about loneliness and isolation and kind of being in a relationship that may or may not be working. Sofia Coppola wrote and directed this film, released it in 2003. During the time when her marriage to Spike Jonze was dissolving. It was on the rocks. They were headed toward a divorce. She has said, people have been like, is your boyfriend, they were married, the director of this film. People have asked if the boyfriend character in Lost in Translation is supposed to be Spike Jonze. He's a music video director who was kind of getting his big break and stuff and kind of running around being very successful, as Spike Jonze was at the time. She was like, it's not Spike, but there are elements of him, just as there are elements of me and all the characters in the movie or whatever. But
it's Spike.
There's
no way it's not Spike.
And then... And I don't know if you've seen the movie, but there is an element of Scarlett Johansson. Interestingly enough, Scarlett Johansson plays this sort of surrogate, not to be confused with the way that was used earlier, but this main character, this protagonist, who we can kind of sort of extrapolate out to be Sofia Coppola, and she's kind of left alone to her own devices by this guy who's kind of off being successful and kind of occupied with himself for various reasons, and she goes through that. 10 years later, her ex-husband, Spike Jonze, writes a movie about a man coming to terms with the mistakes that he made in a marriage that he cared deeply about, with a woman who was successful and felt like he wasn't maybe available to her.
Yeah.
Which is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking. In some ways, people have posited that this movie, and I mean, it ends with an apology to his ex-wife. There you go. It's an apology. It ends with literally his writing, I've learned this. I mean, essentially, I'm sorry for this. I'm sorry for this. I loved you. We're friends to the end. This is what we,
It makes you think, he's like, if that's why he even named it
her. Yeah, I mean, who is the her?
Like, why not just call it Samantha or OS? You know, it's a very deliberate title.
Absolutely.
That can you imagine? Like, I wonder what it was truly like. I really wonder what it was like for Sofia Coppola to watch that,
it. Or for him to watch Lost in Translation. I mean,
I'm sure that was very hard, but like to know that this is a retort to the. Like, because that's like a subplot in a much larger movie. Yeah. So it's like, yeah, you could be... Sure. That'd be like, that sucks that she felt that way, but it's not too bad. Yeah. But like, I feel like this isn't this is an apology for their marriage. Yeah. And like, what a beautiful, melancholy, just like, I'm so sorry, but I made this for you. Like, whoa. And
clearly, I mean, this was my life. This was my, but like not even this is what I was going through at the same time. This is my rumination on it. Yeah. 10 years after it ended. I mean, or
what if she's just like, and because it's putting me in my.
She gets up. She's like, yeah.
Or what if she's just like, get off your high horse and stop using our relationship for your art.
Quit screwing your computer. That's how Sofia
She's like,
Coppola
get out of your ass. I get it. Like, this doesn't make me... You did some terrible shit.
But I
think...
I mean, it's kind of heartbreaking.
It is. Because, I mean, there's an apology at the end, and it's such a... That's why I like the character, because he's a very human character. He has dickish qualities like any... person has dickish quality. Like, there's things I like about him, there's things I don't like about him, and that's what I love about what he did with this movie, is he made him a flawed character, because I think this guy is Spike in some ways, you know.
And what I love about, what I think is so sweet about it, is that if it is indeed a dialogue, right, a this is my response to it, or this is what I want to say about that thing that happened, is that it's not like said at the same time as like, well, this is what was going on in my life, and this is why it was hard. It deals.
It's a 10-year reflection.
It deals almost not at all with the actual facts. It doesn't refute anything, and it just goes, "I'm sorry, and it took me 10 years to realize that." Yeah. I mean, what? And he said he was inspired by, and like apparently, like I was reading things. It says he plays his cards a little closer to his chest about what his films make. But he said he was inspired by Charlie Kaufman, made Synecdoche, New York, which Spike Jonze was possibly going to direct. It's my favorite Charlie Kaufman film. Charlie Kaufman ended up directing it. It's amazing. It's amazing. We'll do that one day, and that's a mind, just like all of Kaufman's.
I would be very excited to.
Oh man, that movie's amazing.
I watched it the first time, and I was like, I'll just have to revisit that in 5 years, because I don't know what I just absorbed, because it was too much for my brain to handle. I knew I had witnessed something truly amazing. I couldn't.
Yeah, of course you. So am I. And I was reading articles about this, and there was this one article that I was like, nah, it's not that. Okay, whatever. It's like not. But it had this stuff. It said some stuff at the end where I was like, oh, and it was like, it's not hard to imagine these films. It's hard not to imagine these films in dialogue with each other. And thinking about this gets me thinking about his writing this apology letter, but he's actually writing it to the young girl in Lost in Translation. He's trying to connect. It's such a sweet thing. I really,
guys,
and he's trying to reach out to her. He's trying to apologize to her. And if they could have met in a different time.
I am so psyched to do Lost in Translation next week. I think we're all just going to be bawling our eyes out.
So keep this in mind. Keep this in mind when you watch Lost in Translation. We talk about it next week, because Giovanni Ribisi is kind of he's a small, not a small, but he's like he doesn't get a whole lot of screen time, because it plays a lot on his absence, right? But like. This article I was reading again was like, it gave me a little more insight, a little more sympathy for that character, and that's interesting.
You know what also is interesting? Anna Faris is in Lost in Translation, and she used to be. I know they're divorced now, but she used to be
married to Chris Pratt.
Especially at the time of her, she was married to Chris Pratt, who's in Her. Oh my goodness, bro!
And it's just, isn't it strange that it's strange that, and like in the recasting of
I think that was intentional.
Of Samantha Morton with Scarlett Johansson, who's the protagonist of Lost in Translation. I mean, with that, certainly that wasn't lost on him.
I can't believe it took me this. We've been talking about this for 5 minutes, and I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah. No, I forget
she's
it too.
the voice.
I forget it too.
And she's in it.
He's talking to her. She is the voice. She is now and she is the Scarlett Johansson, for all intents and purposes, is the character who is learning to be independent and actually is going off and doing great things like Sofia Coppola was doing. Who was becoming
the vessel for her.
It's understandable. That's what happens when we talk about this stuff. Like,
wow.
As Sofia Coppola was coming into her own and becoming a director, right? I mean, it's...
Oh, my goodness gracious.
You know, such I've been sitting here thinking about all the things I've wanted to apologize to you for. I know. Love is dead. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. That's the point of this movie, that it's not dead.
No, it's not
dead.
You have the tools to continue and to make it work.
And when it feels like it is, that just means you... Look... When something ends and you feel it deeply, it's really freaking hard and you have to go through it and it rips you apart. But it means, I mean, think about what it means in terms of how deeply you can feel, and that you can feel that way again, and that you have learned things. You have learned things from your relationships, regardless of how they went. And that's all we do. We just learn and we try to love. We try to love, whether it's starting with yourself, loving just people around you, just doing it in any way you can. And if someone comes along and you can share some of that with them, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Now, how does Bill Murray fit into this? Well, Bill Murray,
he was Amy Adams' OS.
Absolutely. Great.
That's exactly what was that.
Got
that
it.
one spot. Yeah.
Got it. Beautiful. Gonna have to talk to your freaking therapist about this. I'm sorry. But isn't it a beautiful film?
That's great.
Please talk to your therapist. Please, 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 please. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? I'm glad you're here, Madeline. I'm sorry that it's rough. I know it's rough. I'm sorry. Gosh, man. I was watching this and I just was like, just crying because I was like, man, like, you know, we kind of had like a tough week because we were both busy and going or whatever. And, it's great. We're kind of like, cool. We need to make time for each other. And that's very important. And there are a lot of people who've been going through a lot of relationship pain. And this movie is for you. And I'm sorry.
But that's why movies
that's
why movies like this are so, I always hate using that word important, but it's nice to have movies out there like this that they can be very eye-opening for your emotions and everything, and cathartic, and you know, it's nice to have movies like this where you can pop them in, watch it, and because I've been going through some stuff too, and it was just nice to certain, like a lot of the lines I read off, I was just like, oh, that's so nice that another human being has felt that.
You're not alone. That's what it is. That's what it is. That's why I was like, again, like I've got another friend who's going through a really crazy tough breakup, or one that's been really, really hard for that person. And I wanted to send it to him, and I was like, yeah, because like you're not alone. That's what to me, that's what a movie is. That's what at the heart of it. That's what I want from a movie. That's what I would want to put into a movie.
Yeah.
Just, you're not alone. You're not alone. We're all there with you. It's okay. Feel what you're feeling.
Talk about it. Let people know about it.
Absolutely. Let it out. Talk to people you can trust. Give yourself a break. Let yourself breathe. Just breathe in and out. Just know that every second that you can do that is a moment you're okay, and then just take that moment and then move on to the next. Steve Brule, did you know there's a parody trailer for her called Check Her Out with Dr. Steve Brule? I did not know that. This reminds me of the song A Little Piece of Heaven by Avenged Sevenfold. The chorus says, a word to the wise, when the fire dies, you think it's over, but it's only just begun. Be more open about emotions. Absolutely. That's what he learns to do. Be more song about the protagonist party. Talk to Siri about it. Fall in love with Siri. I mean, like, Siri's gonna, like, you know, there's planned obsolescence there. Go for
Aren't there apps where you can like change Siri's voice?
Yeah, mine was Australian.
What was it?
Yeah, she was.
Do it. Say say I'm going.
Hello, Lobro. It's not a knife. It's a knife. What's a wallaby? Hey, the little didgeridoo.
They're like, we never say any of those things.
like-
Stop perpetuating that.
Bloomin'
myth.
onion. You want a bloomin' onion over here, the Outback Steakhouse? Sorry, it's not a knife. It's a spoon. I see you played knifey spoony before.
Siri doesn't let me use Spotify. Yeah, I know.
I want mine to be like. I think there's a Hulk Hogan one that could be cool.
There was a thing, you know,
Calls him brother.
Waze. There was a time where they had Schwarzenegger,
yeah, that's
and he would be
right.
like, "Turn right up ahead. Come with me if you want to." And he's like, "Come with me if you want to live." I think he would say at the beginning, and he's like,
That's so great.
"Yeah, your mother is a British man." You found another fun story about your mom recently. Go for it. Your daughter's crying. Tell me about your mother. Her mother was like I always get these wrong. Tom Petty. She like was a
Your mom's Tom
groupie
Petty?
for Tom Petty, and she was a groupie for Prince. I'm getting these wrong.
That's dope.
Tom Petty and Prince, I'm pretty sure. When Siri absorbs
When
all
do you
our
jump
crystal-
off the Tom Petty train? You're like, because I'm all in on the Prince train now. I've had
yeah.
enough of this. What's Tom Petty's big?
Don't do me like that. I mean, that's not the biggest.
We should go check on your daughter. She sounds like she's
all right.
in a lot of trouble.
Brian Adams. It was Brian Adams. It's even better. I got my first real 6-string. Showed it to Madeline's mom. Okay. Not going to sing that anymore. Listening to Tom Petty was a level. Yeah, Tom Petty's great. Tom Petty was freaking awesome.
I have to go to the restroom.
So one day she came home to Supertramp sitting in her kitchen. She made them grilled cheese. What? I hope I would have that. Supertramp, like, give a little bit of your love to me, which is also it's my bit song.
I was
Thank
gonna
you
say,
for
I was
the
like,
bits.
I know that.
Guys, thank you so much for being here. This was a fantastic movie. I'm gonna walk half. I'm just gonna give the proper pronunciation.
Give a shit, whatever.
Life's a joke. Guys, in case this this stirred up some feelings, just consider some of these links. There are chat warm lines, chat hotlines.
Later, Ken. Later, everybody.
Please, guys, if you we've got a hearts in chat in Discord. Please, if you got some feelings and you're not sure how to deal with them, please share those feelings with someone you trust. If you don't have anyone you feel like you can talk to about it, you can send me a message. I don't
Bye, Madeline.
I don't always respond immediately. I do try to respond to everything, though. There's also a hearts and chat channel in Discord where you can just spill your guts and people will respond. And it has 100% been positive. Also consider some of those links. Love you guys. I will be back. I'm going to put us on pause for a little bit. I'm going to go say hi to my daughter because she's upset. Thank you for being here. I will be back. Feels good to be back. What's up, Diz? Good to see you, man. Lots and lots of love. I'll be back. We're going to put some music on. Thank you for being here. It means a tremendous amount. Later, guys.